Hello and welcome everyone. Assuming that I have clicked all the correct buttons, you'll hear and see me once again for Octane Online Racing. What are we, Series 6? Season 6? Now on YouTube. I'm Jamie Saxon. I'm here with Mitch Hobbs. We'll have one Braden Ross joining us later, all things going well. How are you doing tonight, Mitch?
I'm very good. I'm looking forward to this season and commentating with you. I mean, I get to see your face on screen. That might be a bit, but the rest of it, looking pretty good.
Yeah, look, not all can be well. There's consequences, there's compromises have to be made, and sometimes this is it. But we do what we can with it. So we've got splits blue and red with us tonight. I can see that there's a sub. Is that Adio? Adio, thank you very much. And there was one as well that I missed during the intro, and that was, if my scroll works correctly for me, no, Mr. Rocker, thank you very much. So Sprint Blue, Split Blue and Red. We've got some new cars in this season, most notably the Jag. So a couple of Jag drivers with us tonight, David Thornton, Lachlan Nichols, and Zach James, Laurie McLaughlin. So 4 Jags in this race at their home at Silverstone. So that's exciting. What's your pick for tonight? What's got you excited, Mitch?
I think what's got me excited is the fact that in this split is not Andy O'Hara or Adini or any of them. So we're going to be seeing some new fights this season, which is what's got me most interested.
That's fair. There's a complaint that people want to see Zach James, so we'll get a bit of a view of that. Different crew. Some old familiar faces from last season for the Thursday night. Some new. So Scott Blair is back in this one. Madison, I think, as well, was in this split last time. Honor, Boats, Darwin, Votela, Ashton Reynolds, Bubnow, McCourt. I'm just kind of picking through names that I recall, I think, seeing last season. But some new ones as well. So Sinakis is currently has set the best free practice time at a 1:57.2, which is pretty pacey. Alex Bowen saying he's allergic to racing on Thursday, so Wednesday's fine for me. I can tell you what, there's one car number that I know, and that is car 91, because in every race, I hear it when he gets hit. He has a magic, a knack, a talent for getting himself involved in collisions. Every race, split yellow, car 91. Jamie, music too loud, says Janice Tully. The music is off now. But if all of the sound is too loud, which may be the case, let me just try and adjust that one for you. So Juzzy saying can do consistent 2 flats. How'd you go, Hobbs? Was it a 9th and a 5th last night?
Yeah, 5th in the first race, 9th in the second. Missed out on the P4 in the first race. I was a bit miffed by that, but the second one got a bit of a tap, which I wasn't the most happiest about, but we move on. Still got P9 after racing with 20 seconds of damage for half an hour in the Audi. So look, I was still pretty happy with that. But no, it was pretty good. I think your race was okay as well from memory. I didn't exactly say where you finished.
So my first race was interesting. So I found myself coming into about turn 4, I want to say, with Mia behind me. And, sometimes we just like, look, there's absolutely no point me holding up Mia. She's so much faster than I am. So coming into, it was further, it was into Vale. Depending on how you count the track map, the track map I've got is not having the starting line where we are. Anyway, coming into Vale, like, look, I'll give her enough room. There's no point me fighting it. She's making the dive one way or another. That was already happening.
Yeah.
And what started as a why is Mia where she is turned into why am I where I am, was I was very quickly found myself in last place, and I don't think it was Mia's fault. I think someone else decided that they wanted to come through as well, and it didn't end well. So a bit of a recovery drive. For race 1, I'll get you off my face because we are going to the track, and that is much more exciting to watch. Yeah, a bit of a disappointing race 1. I think I recovered to about P20. And then race 2, lots of scraps. And there was a moment, I think I was maybe around P20 again at that point, where I saw someone emerge from the pit lane. And they were on the same lap as me. And I thought to myself, have they been a naughty boy? And wouldn't you know it, they're here to answer that question. Braden, what did you do race 2?
I don't think I went into the pit lane. So you're telling fibs, as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, here
I
we
saw
go.
you come out of the pits. I'm sure you came out of the pits.
I would have been coming off the back of a spin out of turn 1.
Okay.
It almost happened a couple of times, and then did happen one time, maybe 2 times.
Right, so it wasn't a penalty. You did yourself a mischief, as the kids say.
Yeah, I think there was just maybe 3 or 4 cars. I was third in the row, tailing each other coming into turn 1, and I think there was just cars a little bit too close to each other, unexpected breaker markers, and yeah, just resulted in a little bit of a touch on the rear, which spun me around. Yeah, the guy messaged me after the race and apologised and everything, and I'm like, it's all good, man. So that was nice of him. And he redressed the position straight afterwards as well. So it was some fair play going on after the incident.
There's a good few battles, and I know there's a lot of comments about the amount of incidents, and there was probably more than what we'd like to see. But there was also in through that so many really, really good battles. I know one of the ones that I had very early, and I did have to apologise to Darwin later, because later on and you would have been just behind me, I think, and saw me do it. I dive bombed him pretty hard, and I copped a penalty, which I deserved. I apologise to him for that one. Much earlier in the race, like a really good classic side-by-side coming into Stowe. A couple of door bumps, we both kind of ran wide, getting into each other's way, but more just kind of a bit of an elbows out, bit of racing, and I actually quite enjoy getting into those little tussles where they're fair and honest and respectable. I think that's what we want to see. No one wants to see the incidents, but everyone loves a bit of door to door, especially in GT3. So
yeah, absolutely. I think at one point there was 4 of us all battling each other, coincidentally all from the same endurance team, and I think we all ended up getting into an incident with each other at one point. So I think there may have been a little bit of tension in the air between the 4 of us afterwards.
I think I did. So Withers is my endurance series partner as well, and I did stay out of his car, but he did make a little bit of a mistake and run on some grass. And it wasn't much, but I did kind of sneak past him there. So I was just relieved that it didn't come to blows. But yeah, there was a lot of good tight racing, and I think those are the things that sometimes get lost when we see a lot of incidents throughout the race. Is that's definitely what happens. Either way, we should be coming up on the first flying laps, and I've just realised I don't. No, I am following the first out on track, and that is Madison in the team names. So team names are on you as well. The Dive Bomb Datsun, I like that.
Yeah, I think I appreciate that very much.
He's I would have said almost invalidated the amount of extra track that he found there, but a 158.2. Drivers will be out just getting bankers on their first flying lap. He's still, I think, spent about the first half of the lap on that first fly, still getting your tyres up to temp here. It's the second one where we really kick in, although Scott Blair doesn't care. 157.7 for him. Throwing down a gauntlet earlier. Sinakis, 157.6. Going that little bit better.
Disgusting banker lap. That's actually, I mean, we know that the Bentley is one of the more OP cars around here. It's probably second, I'm sure someone will tell me otherwise, or third to the McLaren. So expecting some quick times, especially Sinakis coming straight from the rookies. We all knew that he was coming straight to the sprint, so it's going to be interesting to see the sort of results that he can get this season.
Yeah, you're not wrong at all. And I think it's going to be very interesting as this split and the next split starts to really settle themselves out, find out who's really racing who as the season progresses. But for the moment, I'm just watching the posture of Madison's car here. The Nissan seems to be handling it fairly well. Just turning just nicely. And some of the higher loading points that we see there through, what's that, Abbey? Stowe's quite tricky as well. Looks like he's got it turning pretty comfortably, so that feels nice. Or it looks like it feels nice, I guess. That's what I'm trying to say there.
I've just been informed, Jamie. I don't know if you've noticed. You've got the. I don't know if you can fix it. You've got the graphics on for last night's split on the stream.
So I do. Let me see if I can fix that.
Or maybe the viewers can use their imagination.
Well, look, there is that. Are you using your imagination, Braden?
I'm always using my imagination.
That should fix it, actually. Okay.
There you go. Madison goes faster, 57.8, so it's still 2.5 tenths off Seneca's lap. Whether it's a banker, we don't really know. Scott Blair, though, fastest at the moment, 57.561, and he's spinning around turn 1 at that.
And I've just realised I need to turn on the full track map so that people get a better idea of where we're at. But,
come on, mate.
There you go. We'll throw up. So we do only get a shorter leaderboard, but up in the top left, for those new players, you'll be able to see what kind of improvement each of these drivers are making. This is the only overlay that shows that. So Britt's currently better part of a second up. That would get him to about P2 if he can close that one out. And he's still got a little bit of way left to go. And look at that track map. There are so many cars on the field. Oh my goodness. I can tell you, Jordan Sabiris is also a couple of tenths up. He's currently in P9, so there you go. Britt's actually pulls it into P4, a little bit more time needed. Sabiris here in the Aston, just willing that car to turn around the way he wants it to. Currently P9, 2 tenths gain. It's off to a good run.
Yeah, this is one of the main challenges with these much larger 48 car grids now, if my maths is correct, that you've got these and he validates just on the exit there. That's a tough one. That you've got to give the driver in front ample room to have their lap and give yourself enough room to be able to not catch up to them. So it's probably one of the more challenging things that we've seen already in the past 2 splits. It might not necessarily be about actually getting a decent time, it's just getting a time in with the amount of cars on track.
Yeah, exactly, especially with the banker lap. Like the banker is a banker for a reason. Coming into those last couple of corners, it really gets congested and you're not quite going to get the exit out of the last corner that you'd ideally want for a flying lap. So it's super important that you do use that as your banker and you get that delta on screen so you have a reference point for yourself. And if you're anything like me, the banker is super important because my qualifying stint goes banker, invalid, 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 quali over.
I'll tell you what, I did not get a single invalid lap all night last night, which makes me feel like I am not fighting the track limits.
And that just may be a personal problem.
Not even a track warning. I mean, I lifted the couple of times that I ran wide, but yeah, I'm not a true racing driver, I guess. As we see, Villanova pulls himself up into P10. Senekis has found a second and a half.
A second? No, that'd be a quick time. That would be a very quick time.
Yeah, unfortunately, lost it through Chapel. So we'll come back to him. Madison has got a couple of tenths up. He's gone for. He's one of the Honda boys who's moved over to the distance this season. I hate to think what this is going to be like if we go to a track like Brands Hatch. This is a 2-minute lap or thereabouts, high 150s. Going to tracks where it's a minute 30, minute 20. Oh my goodness. It's going to be chaos. I love it.
Yeah, it will be absolute chaos. Probably a track like Zolder coming up in a couple of weeks. That will be interesting to watch. Oh, Madison goes wide. Yeah, that's a tough corner there. I can't exactly remember what it's called. I think it's I can't remember off the top of my head.
Arena, apparently? That doesn't sound right. I need a better track.
It's not. I know Village is the one before, I think. Or maybe that one is Village. I'm lost. But it's the 2 right then left-hander hairpins there are do or die sort of corners because you can lose so much time, but you can gain so much time. And there you go. Madison's had enough. 3 tenths off the quickest time at the moment, which I believe still might be Scott Blair.
So every track map that I'm finding now calls it Arena. So I don't know. Oh, Village and the Loop is what it used to be called.
Oh, so
suspect
they've
that it's
changed the
actually
name. I
been
remember the
renamed.
loop. Yeah, so it's been renamed. Okay.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah, that makes sense. Understandable. Have a great day.
Yeah, just naming rights. Anyway,
Yep.
let me find an actual driver on the field. Let's have a gander at that. Scott Blair, 2/10 up, so he needs 6,000ths of a second to gain P1. So I didn't realise how tight that was. That's incredible.
Yeah, Paul Britt, currently P1, 57.555. It's another one of the standout rookies that's come up to sprint this season. But looks like his Ferrari teammate's about to show him how it's done. Unless he manages to lose time. Sanikas had a little bit more time in his lap, but unfortunately just couldn't quite find it. See if Blair's got enough in his lap. Looks like he does. He doesn't need much at all.
Absolutely right. Very, very close indeed. And indeed, the entire top
He's got the
13
slipstream.
within
There
a
it
second.
is.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah, what a quali session that. Let's have a look.
There's a couple
Yeah,
left
you're
to
right.
come through.
Top 13, nearly 14 are within a second of each other. That is going to be one heck of a race to see.
Yeah, Robert Shaw's finished his lap. Lamb is one of the last to cross it. He's pulling it into the pits. He's done. Shaquille in P16. He's actually on a 2/10 gain, I can see on the side of my screen. So if he closes that out, he runs a little bit wide. Did lose about a 10th on that, but that'll still jump him a couple of positions by the looks. No, by the end has not quite improved. So that exit cost him a touch. There we have it, the top 20. A second and a half, and even that, the jump from 19 to 20 is actually the big one. So it's 1.2 seconds gets you within the top 19, and Sassana was a second and a half behind.
Yeah, even P4 to P6, which was McCourt, Reynolds, and Peterson, were all within a couple of hundredths of each other. It was super tight in that part of the pack as well. So if quality's anything to go by, there's going to be some good battles tonight. And if last night's anything to go by, there's going to be some horrible incidents tonight.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's going to be massive death, I'm assuming.
And we were saying it a bit in before we got started as well, in some of the chatter that we have. I think the track temp and the ambient temp and getting tyre temp up, especially in race one, especially if people have taken a little bit of a break during the off-season, I do feel like that contributed to some of what we saw yesterday, and we see it here now. 15 degrees ambient, 15 degrees track. You need to get your pressures right for this, and you need to get the temperature up in the outlap. I know.
Yeah.
I tried hard, and I got mid 26s, which is not enough.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I was trying, probably not as hard as you, because I didn't really want to ruin my brakes or anything, and I couldn't get it anywhere above low 26s, just because of how cold the track is. You really got to get the car and push it to actually get those tyres up to 27.5, 6 around there, just to get the temps up. Took 4 or 5 laps, and there's only 10 laps or so in the race, 11 laps if my maths is off, which it is.
I think we did 10 laps. I think you're bang on. We did 10 full flying racing laps, so we did the outlap and then 10. Now there was a safety car in there which did slow everyone down, so you might get 11. You wouldn't get more than that. And then the second race we did 21 laps, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, look, it's one of those things, like on the start of that first race, my tyres were still cold, and yet I was stupid enough to go around the outside of a car because I got the better jump. I don't recommend anyone that's in these races do that, because I nearly lost the rear end on it. But if you can really push the car and get those temps up to, even just 27, 27.1, 26.9, you're going to have that advantage coming round the first lap. So you can really, as much as you shouldn't be aggressive on lap one, you can really make up some good positions.
Yeah, particularly on the second race, you've got 40 minutes. As Saxon said, it's about 21 laps. If you really look after those tyres for the first few laps, get them up to temperature, don't get yourself into aggressive battles where you're locking brakes and you're sliding all over the place, then you'll have that advantage towards the end. I know personally my tyres were destroyed towards the end of the race. That was including a couple of spins as well. But the people that still had good tyres towards the end of the race had a massive advantage, on time, just around to the lap, and just breaking down that delta and getting around people, getting that advantage coming into corners as well.
Yeah,
so tyre care in the first few minutes is super important.
you're not wrong at all. I think Silverstone is very hard on tyres because you've just got these big high-speed corners as well as slow ones that you need to get a lot of punch out of. So I'm thinking, where's my track map going to make sure I get my corners right? Is it somewhere here? Yeah, so I'm thinking Stowe. So coming down the Hanger Straight, that one's quite tricky. Very easy all the way through Maggots and Beckett's, just to push the rears too hard, trying to get the extra rotation. And particularly, the left rear. Very easy to chew that one out quite a lot. I will say, my tyres felt great all the way to the end. I did have some light scrubbing, I think. And I could tell the difference, because drivers that I am not normally quicker than, I was able to keep pace with and get a bit of a run on. What I did find, though, off the start, so the M6 Turbo, I'm sure it is. I did find just getting that brake boost and being able to push a little bit off the line so that when it came time to a braking zone, I hopefully had a little bit more room from the car behind to be able to ease up, find my position and not get involved in a collision. That's actually what I felt like helped me. But we will see what we get, that is for sure. Which one of you gentlemen wants to take this, the start of the race, for the first one of this split?
Yeah, I can take it if you like.
It's all you.
Leading the way as we're about to go green, we've got Blair and Britt teammates in the Ferraris, followed by Sonicus and McCourt. We've got the Nissan of Reynolds looking very close, looking to make an early position on the jump. Ferrari really needs to get a bit closer up. Kind of gifted Blair the whole shot there, coming through turn one. Looking clean at the front so far. Can't really say a whole lot about the rear of the pack, but I think we'll see on the track map if any yellows pop up. Got some side-by-side action coming into Maggots and Beckett's. It's between Reynolds, McCourt. McCourt has the inside line. They get very close. McCourt loses out. Reynolds takes the position.
Oh, who's this Nissan? Oh, no. Oh,
They try and go three wide.
Ooh, okay, this is going to be a cluster. Who's that on the grass? Ooh, I think that might be Madison by the looks of it.
Yeah, the Mercedes just wasn't letting him back on. There was a bit of door banging there, and you've got to leave the space. You've got to give people track.
Now, we haven't seen any yellow dots so far, but I'm going to say that a bit of that time, Britt, he was so far behind Blair. A good kind of 3 cars behind, and it's caused a bit of a pileup. And Britt's away like a bandit. Blair's away like a bandit. But yeah, these guys having to really get their elbows out. It's caused a bit of a tussle. And there is some yellow dots in the background. I see.
Tap the Beamer. Oh, that's a bit of a tap there. I can't really say who was at fault. They didn't quite see the whole incident. But I think we'll keep going.
That was a disaster waiting to happen. There was a whole horde of cars going through the tightest corner of the circuit. It's not always going to work out.
You can see Hemi Bateman seems to have taken the biggest whack there. Just have a quick look, try and see if there's any damage on the car. Can't see any from the front. The cameraman swings around. Looks all right. So maybe just a bit of a door bang in, a bit of a swing around. So unfortunate news for him. And as we pop in, there was someone else, the car 33, I thought I saw, was off somewhere around Abbey. But all in all,
33.
Not
is that
too bad.
Senekas?
It could be. It could be.
No, it's not. Senekas has
it's
dropped
Rosh
back,
McMahon.
though. It's Rosh McMahon, okay.
The Honda's only P43 out of 43 cars plus 1 safety car, so it is a big old split. But as we close out the first lap, Blair has held his P1 from Britt, McCourt and Reynolds in P3 and 4. Senekas, Peterson, Madison, Boats, all within a tight clump there behind them, but there is that bit of a gap between McCourt, Britt and Blair. And behind Ferguson has fallen a little bit behind Boats, as we can kind of see on our screens a bit. But they've found themselves an order. Sorry, go ahead.
That's all right. I just want to point out Britt is actually making a lot of time on Blair at the moment, so we may have a battle for the lead on our hands quite shortly. Blair did run away with it lap 1, but hasn't been able to pump out those lap times to keep Britt off the back of him, and he's going to be under pressure.
Yeah, that's it. At the moment, they'll still be, I think, really bringing their tyres up to temp, so it may just be a bit of who's willing to push harder, who's willing to do what they need to do to sustain for the longer run. You're absolutely right. He's not gapping him away. And I mean, the qualifying difference between these two boys was very, very tight. And in fact, I think the only reason that the gap is so open is just, Britt was a long way back on the starting line. It looks like about that much of a gap now still, if we think about it in that kind of terms. But they are gapping away from a court who's now fallen back a good, 6/10 in the first couple of sectors here this lap?
Yeah, it's been, I'd say at least 5/10, but we know that the Ferraris here are, I don't know how to say, it's not the quickest car, but it is quite consistent when you know how to drive it. We saw last night a couple of Ferraris getting incidents. We saw a bit of snap oversteer from Ryan Houlihan in split yellow, which I think that caught everyone off guard, let alone just him. And you know, I think the Ferrari's a bit of an interesting car here to drive, but I'm sure Blair and Britt will have the banana car under control.
You're not wrong. I'm just jumping down because I'm pretty sure Honda or potentially it was Lamb. I'm not sure. I saw someone dropping a long way down the order. Oh,
is that a Ferrari pointing the wrong way?
You might be right. You might be right.
Just rejoining.
There's someone off the track there at Chapel.
It's Britt.
On the track map
Britt?
there.
Is it Britt?
Yep,
you're right.
Britt has fallen heavily down the order.
Yeah, whoa, what's happening there?
Blair free. That'll be a breath of fresh air for Blair.
Oh, yep, then that's exactly what I was on about. That's my fault.
He's taking ownership for it early.
It's just hit me. That's my fault. Jesus, that's a bad start. It was round one, race one. Uh-oh, this is bad.
So
you got the first one of the season.
Yeah, got the first one of the season.
Just out of us three, I suppose. There's probably a fair bit going on last night. You never know what's going to happen when Malik's commentating.
Well,
you could probably put all the incidents on him, to be honest.
Yeah.
All he had to do is look at someone and go, he's doing well, and then it's done for him. It's all over.
It's done for, yeah, exactly.
I see another instance just popped up as well. That's 717. That's Gutierrez.
Gutierrez. Let's see if it's a bit of Audi tings. Oh, just way late on the brakes. And it's been tapped. He's tapped his teammate. I can't quite tell who that is.
That would be Desai, I think.
Desai. Yeah,
that's Desai.
Ooh, that's a bit of a dodgy rejoin there, but couldn't do much about it. And there's a Honda off there. Can't quite catch who that is, but it is Honda around Silverstone. I know what that's like. It's not fun, so I'm sure they'll make their way up.
I feel you on that one. I know my BMW time's about a second and a half quicker. So
yeah,
we've definitely. I mean, with this many drivers, it's much easier to find a bit of banging and a few people kind of running a little bit too wide. As I say, I think there's going to be a fair few tyres, and Braden, you talked about it already. Taking care of your tyres matters quite a lot here, even a 20-minute race. And I think
I learned a lot very quickly last night. I was hitting curbs, and I started to get loss of pressure in tyres. And by the end of the race, both of my right tyres were down to like the mid-26s. The two left were bang on mid-27s to high 27s. So just punishing those tyres really pays the price, because I was losing a lot of time then.
Yeah, so I think that's the double insult for Britt. It's not only has he lost his P2, but he's also taken a fair bit of rear tyre damage. Trying to get it corrected. It's going to hurt him for a little while. As I just saw Peterson there get very close to Seneca's coming into Vale. Keeps it out of each other. That's the main thing.
Yeah, so a positive for Britt is you can walk away from this seeing the silver lining that this is the 20-minute race. We still have a 40-minute race next up. I think one of the beautiful things that is unseen about this new format, being the 20-minute and the 40-minute, is it calms people's nerves. When you get involved in an incident in a 60-minute race, you think the next 50 minutes or next 55 minutes of your race is just going to be absolute hell. But when something happens in a 20-minute race, you just put your head down, you move forward, and you think to yourself, I'll just get on with it, see how I go in the next race. So the new format is definitely great for calming nerves of drivers, and definitely gets you back on track with your head down.
That's a good point. I do want to call out though, Andy saying that Tier Green killed Green and Mullock had nothing to do with it. I don't know if we accept that kind of attitude.
Yeah, I don't think we can accept that.
It's just out of line. I appreciate what you're saying, but I mean we could blame Bender as well. Though, so
We could blame a lot of people, let's be honest.
obviously see Terry Darwin just struggling to get the car turned around. It looks like he's going to come on a pretty heavy attack immediately from Robert Shaw right behind. He's going to hold his position coming in through Maggotts and Beckett's. It's all about this exit out onto Chapel. Takes about as much curb as you'd like. Looks like he's held it and held it well, and Robert Shaw is not going to be able to get an attack back on him, but he's got a few cars building up behind him, is Darwin. And with a second, 1.8 seconds, a better part of 2 seconds between him and Shaquille ahead, he wants to be able to just have his eyes forward, not having to look behind and see if he's about to get charged. As we see Shaquille just caught him there in the Lamborghini. Category 5 Huracan. I like it. I like it. Just finds a little bit of the grass. It's a bit of an alternate route through, was that Club? I do feel for them though, because I think last season, Silverstone, we saw a few Lamborghinis at Abbey exit ungracefully. So, hopefully, not to be tonight. Jump back up ahead to this leading pack. So, what have we got here? So it's Reynolds. He's fallen back a tiny bit more to McCourt. And now he's got Sneakers, Peterson, and Madison all behind him. Boats, fair gap behind. So maybe let's have a look from Madison's perspective. Let's give it a bit of a cockpit view there.
I'm seeing a common theme here.
What's this?
Front engine cars.
Well, you got Ferguson and Honor, 8 and 9. Do I go right? Boats is just behind. There's a Ferrari up ahead. But
Well,
certainly,
in terms of this battle of 4 cars, it's front engine, which is good around a track like this until someone in chat tells me otherwise. Especially through places like Maggotts and Beckett's, you can really just throw it in there and get good speed out, whereas in the mid-engine cars you've got to be a lot more careful, especially coming into Maggotts. You can lose the rear real quickly if you take it wrong, brake too late, too much steering input. So the front engine cars definitely have an advantage through there, and especially with that Bentley, you can pretty much just eat any curb that you like.
yeah, I suppose the kind of tidier, twistier section. So up through what is now Arena, mid-engines might be able to start to get a bit of a boost. I know that was certainly where I was struggling in the BMW to keep up. Just their ability to make this very, very tight turn that we're approaching just now, get it turned around and get it off for the rest of it.
As we can see, the Nissan not using first gear because first gear basically doesn't exist in the Nissan.
There's some of the quirks between cars, isn't it? You can't always just pick it up and match gears.
Yeah, I think that's probably the biggest difference between the Nissan and the other probably front engine cars is just the gear ratios. They are a bit off. Same with the Jag actually. It's got some weird gear ratios. I'm told first gear is extremely long. So it's all about the different quirks in the cars that, you know, you can just settle the differences in races.
Yeah, it looks like I don't think he ever's going to touch first in this Nissan, but a lot of the other cars will at a couple of points touch it.
Yeah, I don't actually think there's any track, from what I remember on ACC, that the Nissan uses first gear.
Yes, I suppose very similar to the GT4s in that regard. I don't think many of them ever touch first.
As you can see, Reynolds up there just not letting Sneakers have any of the slipstream, just trying to get it away as quickly as he can.
Yeah, we're also seeing a fat wad of penalties come through, I'm assuming from a couple of the lap 1 incidents. Ferguson just picked himself up 15 seconds, along with Terry Darwin has also picked up 15 seconds.
Yeah, especially the first couple of laps, the penalties are a lot more severe here if you're new to this, or new to to our league. Welcome. Yeah, first lap penalties. First 2 laps, I think, is usually doubled. And then it depends on the severity of the incident. But 15 seconds means you've probably pushed the limits of propriety by a fair margin. And we saw a couple. But we also saw a couple where it's just kind of driver errors or kind of really marginal mistakes that turn into a bit bigger incidents. And that's what I think sometimes makes it challenging is when what was really maybe slightly over a racing incident turns into kind of a very big off, which is what happens. Whereas sometimes some really egregious moves turn into nothing more than a little bump and shunt and off you go. So it can be a challenging, both to be a steward, I'm sure, and on the receiving end. But all in all, I think we get it pretty right, which is why we see it grow season from season, week from week. I mean, we don't want to race in public lobbies where absolutely nothing happens if you do the wrong thing. So I appreciate the work the students put in. So what other bits of battles? I mean, there's battles everywhere, isn't there here? It's your call, Braden. Who do you want to see? Who do you want to look at right this very moment besides me?
I want to look at Britt. I want to see if Britt's fighting his way back up the pack.
All right.
He's getting onto the back of Robert Shaw and Darwin here. And I think they're getting onto the back of Shaquille. This is quite a close pack, actually. There's quite a number of cars here. What have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cars.
Yeah, that's it. He's got
a little bit spicy.
He's got a good gap to Thornton behind him as well, so he's got the opportunity. So you see yellow flags flick for a second, but total away. Oh no, I see car 12 is off. Car 12, it's someone. Maybe it's car 42. I saw the 2. It was car 42, so that is... Flick through my driver order. That's Van Valet in the Porsche. Back, it's a Porsche moment. Sorry, I cut you off though. Continue.
I forgot what I was saying.
There's a battle. There you go. That's what you're saying. There's a battle here.
Hefty battle ahead. A lot of different makes of cars as well, so a lot of different strengths in different parts of the track. And Britt is really putting whatever he's got left of those tyres to work to try and make up whatever position he can. If he can find his way into that P12, possibly even P13, he'll be able to inherit pole for the next race.
We did get a front row seat to Darwin, almost losing his position to Robert Shaw. Now he's already lost it with the penalty, but that's not to say that someone else won't also get a penalty and even it up, so he's still got a lot to race for. Britt, I think with that 15 second as well to Ferguson, my maths is loosely right, he's in provisional P14. So as you say, getting a few more positions will help. Now as I understand it, the top 12 will start race 2 in their top 12 position, but everyone else will go through a second qualifying. That gives them an opportunity to get a little bit further up, but 13th would be the highest that they start, if I've got that correct.
Yes, that would be correct.
Fantastic.
You're all over it this season, Saxon.
Yeah.
Look at you go, mate.
Oh, look, we'll see. It's a long night yet. But it does give you an opportunity. If you've had maybe not an ideal first race, you've been punted a fair bit down towards the back, you get that opportunity to do that second qualifying. And yeah, you can't get back up into the top 12. You can get yourself a P13, and that's pretty good in this bigger field. But it looks like that gap to Thornton, so I remember saying it was 1.2 seconds, now 2/10. So Britt does have to start looking again behind it, and it does appear that I think the scrapping ahead has kind of robbed him of his chance and instead just kind of walked him back into Thornton.
So, Sax, you're just being called out on in the chat for something that I've tried to call you out for before.
Oh, okay.
I think you turned a blind eye to it. It's actually Van Valet, not Van Valet. That L is before the I, my friend.
You are absolutely correct. Van Valet.
No,
Valet. Valet.
Let's not butcher it.
All right, you guys have got that one. Look, I've managed a few names, and I admit that sometimes I can't get them quite right. So help me out, and we'll get there.
Try P27. Try his last name.
P27. Bowringer.
Damn it. I thought you were going to try and go for some fancy pronunciation and just make an absolute fool of yourself.
Oh,
I think the first name of Shaquille is a bit of a challenge. I was looking at that one before and I'm hoping I have to say that.
I've got to have a look at this now.
P13.
No, that one's going to be a bit too much of a challenge for me and my outer suburbs upbringing. But we'll work on that. Either way, we are heading into the near end of this race. I think there'll be one more lap after this. Let's have a look at Scott Blair. He's got McCourt coming back at him. 1.12 seconds. Reynolds 5 seconds behind McCourt. So it is between these two boys. But Blair, he's had a fair bit of room ever since Britt had that little moment. But maybe not for much longer. And maybe, as you said a couple of times, Braden, his tyres, are they in a good enough position to get him through to the end? And if not, then that doesn't hold well for the next race. But we will see.
Surely in a 20-minute race, you'd be able to squeeze enough out of them to get you to the end.
Well,
you must be butchering pretty hard for him to be dead.
I was going to say, usually your tyres will last a 20-minute race. The 40-minute one, though, they can last most of the time. It's sort of your 30-minute mark where you start to be like, okay, yeah, no, these tyres are starting to lose all their grip.
I mean, you can certainly push them a little bit harder, but as well, I think, if you've pushed it in terms of some really tight brake ducts, or maybe your pressures aren't quite right. Look, I'm just trying to add some spice. Right? Try my best, but you're probably right. He's probably not got tyre issues, unless you've been scrubbing. So that's certainly a challenge that I have. Is just asking too much, particularly from the front. Give it all you can. And it starts to really cost you later in the race. It's kind of a trade-off. You can pick up a bit of time early, but it costs you later. For now, though, 1.1 seconds ahead. So it looks like the podium is fairly settled. I can see car 171 has had an off in an unusual location, end of club. So that's Charlie Mitchell. Car completely stopped.
I dare say that might be a little bit of a nip of the sausage curb on the inside of the club.
Sanikas just went wide out, coming into Chapel there. It's battle for the podium position. Final lap now. Madison at the back, just maybe hoping for a bit of a mistake from someone. Sanikas really going to be pushing it now, putting all the pressure on Reynolds, but he's got pressure from Peterson as well, so be interesting to see. I'm going to say the word interesting way too many times this season, so tell me to stop saying it. As we see, Boats just holding off the pressure from Honor at the moment. Two former teammates last season were both in Audi. Boats has decided to stay loyal to the Audi, whereas Honor has now moved over to the McLaren.
I just want to give a little bit of a tip of the hat to McCourt as well. He's really crunched down that gap to Blair. I'm not sure it's going to be enough to be able to make an overtake, but he was able to close it in. I think that was down to about 3 seconds at one point.
Yeah, he's done very well, especially in the Mercedes around here. From my experience, it's not been the quickest car around here. It's a bit of a barge around here at certain points. Sanikas just looking maybe for a final last-ditch effort. Yeah, going late on the brakes. Forced to go wide, loses the time on Reynolds.
Very rare, I think, that we've ever seen someone grab a position last lap on Luffield, but we have seen people lose them, trying too hard to attack, and instead they give one back up. Boats and Honor looks like it is going to finish the way it started this lap, with Boats saying, no, Audi was the way, I don't know why you switched, and Honor saying, next time, mate, I'll have you. Rounding out the top 9, there's Sibiris, who has gotten past Ferguson, who, based on his pace, I suspect might have just run out of some fuel there.
I think he just ran out of fuel by the looks of that coming across the line. So he's just probably lost quite a few positions there. My maths is not good enough to be able to work it out now.
We have Van Vliet?
Van Vliet.
Well, put it this way: it's not Van Filet. That's all we know.
Marcus brings it home in at 24th behind Sassana. Tricky trap for the Porsche. So I think these boys will be happy when we go to the next one. So you see down here a few more incidents throughout the field. Lewis, French, Mans, Fotola, Gutierrez all having penalties. So the final standings will change. Bender gets himself out of the Nissan that I think he was very happy to move on from.
He nearly just didn't gain that position from Votlo, who's got the 10-second. If he'd only been a tenth or so slower, he wouldn't be gaining that position.
But he does, so he jumps up to P31 as well, because he'll grab the position from Mans, and I think there's just a couple left. Find my controls here. So people just decide, going very slowly. And that, to me, again, is the sound of a man trying very hard to make it on.
He may not have fuel, and he may be about to lose.
That is lap 8.
Yeah, it is.
I think Sharp behind him. Oh my
God. Wow.
What have we missed?
He's brought
That's
it
a man
home.
who refuses to pit.
Yep.
Give it all you can.
Right, so as we've said, what's going to happen now is that the top 12 are going to have a nice little break, have a stretch. That is the top 12 from the last race. Everyone else gets out for a qualifying, and they get to try and set themselves up. And that qualifying position will be where they start behind that top 12. So P1 from this qualifying will be P13 come race 2. So as I said, it does give these drivers an opportunity to get themselves a bit back up the order, try and recover their drive a bit. So Britt in particular, I think, will be really chomping at the bit to get a bit further back up. He is in the Bonotto's Blunderers team. So with that one mistake, I think, making the boss happy. Lachlan Henderson saying the pork is nice here. Tricky track for the Porsche.
Yeah.
Haven't they come off at Cops in particular about 200 times?
Look, I couldn't tell you. Maybe ask Philippa. She'll tell you.
I'm pretty sure that last season we saw a number of Porsches lose it at Cops.
We saw a couple of lose at Cops, Maggots as well, and I think also Abbey might have been one.
I mean, unless there's been some BOP change, it was more kind of a balance of the car. Maybe they've got some better setups for this season. I'm certain that I saw a number of them just snap, in particular in that high loading cap. Oh yeah, fair. So maybe it's just the Porsche is what the Porsche is.
Yeah, look, I haven't driven it too much. I've driven it probably not as much as some drivers have, but it's not the worst car around here. But I didn't have a proper setup, so I was probably driving it too safely.
Yeah, Lachlan Henderson was a good point. Imagine losing to Scout. Garbage. Makes a fair point.
yeah, that's fair enough.
So see, Hemi Bateman looks to be the first out doing his flyer. And so he'll get pride of place, assuming, we'll just check, he didn't just invalidate that a little bit wide, he did not. So he's doing well. Now, in my opinion, BMW felt very, very comfortable here. I did have that moment where we picked up, I think, and Braden, I think you got it as well, we picked up Andy's setups from last season. Cheers, Andy.
Yeah, we did. All of us BMW drivers are very lucky to have those because they are absolutely top notch.
Now, I tell you what, when I picked it up, I expected that the car was going to be so hard to drive. It's like, I've just got to be so much better than what I am to be able to handle this car and to extract it out. And what I found was that it was so nice to drive. And it kind of made me feel a little bit worse. Like, there's nothing... Yeah, I mean... it's just driverability, which is what I logically know, right? Like, there's no tweaks I can make.
Yeah, gone are the days where you can blame the setup for being slow.
Yeah. I've got no excuse. In every setup I've ever taken to any track, I've always fiddled with something just to get a little bit more comfortable, and I did not even touch it. I changed the amount of fuel. I changed some tyre pressures.
I fiddled with the brake bias a little bit.
I didn't even do that. I think I was at 55. And
yeah.
It felt great. I don't. Yeah, as I say, I expected it to be something that I couldn't do, but it's all driverability.
Get to listen to Jamie O'Hara over here.
Well, look, I didn't do that well. I did all right for myself. I did very well for myself, so I did set my best Silverstone lap by a fair margin. Yeah, it felt great. Either way, Hemi Bateman comes through with a 158.8 for his banker lap, and importantly for him, he was so quick off the mark. Look how much space he has to do his flyers.
Yeah, you've got to really time it well, and if you do that, you've got a nice clean track. Don't have to give anyone any gaps. You can just... Oh, looked a bit wide there. You can just go for it, plant the foot. No need to worry. Everyone else behind you has to give you the space.
Yeah, that's it. I noticed in this BMW, even at these high-speed corners at the end, you can be pretty heavy on the power, and the car continues to rotate all the way through.
Oh, very early on the power as well. You can be 30% of the way through some of these corners and be straight up to 100% throttle, and the car will just make it around.
It's been a learn going from the Ferrari, where just trying to stop it dying. And, that nervousness where you've got to hold a bit of power on to keep some of the weight to the rear, just so much more comfortable. But so far, out of the first flyers, Terry Darwin has gone a little bit faster than Hemi Bateman. 158.5.
Yeah, we've seen a few laps come through, but Terry Darwin's been the only one to be able to beat Hemi Bateman so far. We haven't seen Britt cross the line yet, though, and he obviously stuck at P2 in the last session of qualifying.
That's a good point. Now, he's just coming through now. Currently his position not up to date. So we'll just get a little bit of a look in a fantastic view there to see how the car's behaving. Beautiful. Clearly the Pirelli sponsorship going the full distance here with that particular shade of yellow. Just manages the rotation in there through Brooklyn. Is it maybe a touch wide at Luffield? Maybe has to be a bit hesitant on the power. But as we say, this is his first flyer, even though he's coming into it a bit late. So just get that banker in, and now we have tyres up to pressure for the second full one. And there you go, 157.8. So takes that provisional of this set pole. Runs it a bit wide. Start having a look now at who's getting some improvements in. Bub now, a full half second coming into Luffield. McLaren doesn't mind this track at all.
That will gain only one position, really, but it is a fair chunk of time.
And that's it.
He is squeezing it a little more coming into the one position, but he is only 400ths off Terry Darwin, so it's super tight between those two.
Yeah, very close indeed. Got Jeffries here in the 666 Lamborghini. 4.5 seconds. It's always nervous, I feel like, if you're doing quite well and then you've got to get through Abby.
4.5 seconds, are you feeling good?
So, 4.5 tenths.
That would be a quick lap, I must say.
He's just gone from 159.3 to a 153.9.
Yeah, something like that.
So, am I feeling it? I'm doing okay. I can see people still a fan of the chase cam. There'll be more. Don't you worry about it. Don't you fret, little one. It's Jeffries. Always tricky, I feel like, coming into the last part of a lap and you're a long way up. Do you push even harder or do you try and consolidate it? It looks like he probably tried to push it a little bit extra through Luffield, and in the end, maybe kind of cost him a tenth, but that's all right. It's still a big gain, gets him up into P6. So within a second of P1 for this one. Bob now, 3 tenths up, but it's on an invalid lap. Easy to gain if you bypass parts of the track. Nichols in the Jag, looking very schmick. Doesn't quite get the exit out of arena that he'd love, but 3 tenths up, still a good gain. We'll only jump him one position above Shafali, but gets him closer to Lewis. If he can find another tenth or two, lots of positions on offer. And he might have just done it.
There's the time that you're talking about. Gets a decent line around left field. Loses all the time, though, that he could have just found through Brooklands.
Not horrible on the exit, though.
No.
Not too bad. 13th. So we'll look for a bit more. Vanderlei, 3 tenths up in the Porsche. He stuck with the Porsche from last season, I think.
No, he was missing last season.
That's a good point. That's a big old change, that's for sure.
Yeah, it is definitely a big change. I think one of the hardest adjustments for I think not even just the stream but also the drivers is seeing all your your mates or your competitors in completely different cars. I think that's a big change, especially even yourself being in a different car. I think most people have changed cars. I'm sure there's those select few that have decided to stay loyal to one specific brand. But
yeah, and those that are lucky that have been able to actually get that selection as well. Because obviously there's a bit of a shuffle with the picks that you choose coming into the season. I know that I'm pretty sure I got my third pick. Can't complain though. I wouldn't have picked it if I didn't want it.
Yeah, that's right. I managed to get my third pick as well, but I knew that was probably coming considering the amount of people that definitely wanted the same cars that I did. But I'm glad I got it now because the Audi is very nice to drive. As we see, Vanderlei gains another 10.5 coming out of Luffield, nearly 2 tenths from there. Let's put him up to 13th. It's the end of Quali 2 anyway. Here's Bender McNulty, who was half a second up but lost it through Maggots and Beckett's a little bit. Nearly 2 tenths lost out of Chapel. It's probably a tougher corner for the Merc.
He's about 10 seconds off his pace when it's raining.
Yes, that's
He's
right.
not in his comfort zone.
No, he's not. He's probably doing a rain dance. Doesn't look quite dark enough to rain, but it could potentially screw with people's plans if it does actually rain in the 40-minute race.
He's picking up some good pace here, so this is a couple of positions that he's already got under his belt with the gain if he can hold it out.
Someone needs to tell this man to rev the crap out of the car because he's not doing it.
Yeah, he's shifting on yellow, isn't he?
Yeah, you got to rev the thing until it just about hits the limiter.
It's amazing what a difference it can make to your top speed when you don't get the optimal shifts in
before Andy tells me otherwise.
He just wants to be kind to the engine, right? Like, doesn't want to avoid the warranty.
What does Andy know about sim racing?
Yeah.
That's it. But still, this is looking pretty respectable.
6 tenths up. It's looking like a good lap. See how much more he can gain. Really using all of the turn in on the Mercs. Going to lose a little bit on exit. Still 7 tenths-ish up. So gain him. Looks like quite a few positions actually. Looks like a good lap. Let's see where it puts him.
I think about 11.
Yeah, 12th.
12th.
Nice.
There you go. Very nice. Very nice improvement. Who's still out there? Robert Shaw just crosses the line, pops himself up into 5th. And I'm flicking through and I'm not seeing anyone else out on a lap in an improvement. Jeff Sharp is about to cross the line. He is 2 tenths down. So that will be our second quali. So keeping in mind those positions, add 12 to them and that's where they'll start. So Britt will start in 13th, Susanna 14th, so on and so forth. So some good recoveries there from Hugh Drover. Britt we expected to see make some big steps. Susanna Votler getting up there. Ferguson still a rookie looking to get that reclassification. Robert Shaw, Darwin, Bubnow and Jeffries will roll out the top 20, so they will be 13th through 20th on the restart.
Yeah, look, no, Andy, I'm not wrong about the Lambo. You just know I'm right. It's not a very good car. Sorry, no, I just had to argue there. He's still holding me against my word.
How dare you use the things that I have said against me?
Yeah. How dare you use my correct opinions against me?
There you go. Now, a little bit different this race. So 20 degrees ambient, 27 on the track. This will be much closer to what drivers just qualified in. They did their first qualifying in. So they'll bring their pressures back down to what they're a touch more familiar from that. So what you'll see in just a moment is the stewards will call everyone out in their race order, and we'll do that formation lap. So I'm just getting ready, familiar for it for the first time for these guys in this season. It's a perfect time to crack a cold one that's been sitting here on my desk for a little while, I think.
Well, that's not a cold one then, is it?
It's still pretty cool.
It's a lukewarm one.
Yeah.
Is that a Coke Zero, my friend? Is that a Coke Zero here in the background?
Not Coke Zero. No, I don't. I don't understand the point, right? You either commit to the sugar or you don't.
Well, I have a saying: don't drink your calories, which I tend to do a lot. Especially if it's topic of the week for me. If it's brown creamy soda, you can't beat brown creamy soda.
I'm sorry, I can't stomach the stuff. I think I've got something wrong with me.
Well, I guess you are entitled to your wrong opinion. I'm with Andy on this one.
I mean, I am much younger than you, so look, I can't really blame you.
It's one of these boomer drinks.
Yeah.
Creamy soda, it's like sarsaparilla. It's just one of those, I don't know, it's fallen out of fashion, I guess.
Nonsense.
It's okay. Oh no.
Oh, Bender forgot to press drive. Oh no. Oh no.
He qualified pretty well.
Oh,
He's done that to
jeez.
himself.
How did he go and screw that up?
Ah,
Yeah,
Bender
sitting there in
things.
shame. There he is, David
Big F in
McNulty.
chat.
Big F.
He just stares into
Yeah,
the windscreen,
stares into the
regretting his
distance.
decisions. We've all been there.
Can't wait for Mullet to rip into him next week on that one.
Look, we've all done it.
Chat binds. The
The
chat
one that-
binds for the replay of that one.
The one
just
that got
while we're
me.
waiting
Oh,
for
sorry,
these-
go ahead.
Sorry. No, you go ahead. 'Cause
So I think
what-
if you have manual ignite on, the one that I think's got me is that I pressed drive, but I didn't have the ignition on, and that was enough once to kick me back to the pits.
It's that's pretty brutal, to be honest.
Yeah, that's a
I
bit
thought
rude.
so. I thought
Give
so.
a man a
Right?
chance.
If you don't have the engine on, you can't play. I've
Just
got time
quickly-
to turn it on.
Just quickly, while we're squabbling around on the formation lab, can we have a look at some of these team names that we've got floating around? Because it's one of those novelties that really excite me every season.
That's a good one. Well, so in chat, your favourite, and amongst us, our favourite, Category 5 Huracan, there for the Lamborghinis, for the Bentley's Boatley McBoatface. I don't mind that. I
Yep,
don't
standard.
mind
Yeah, that's nice.
that. Vantage Point for the Aston, I like that. I like where they're going with that. Blue Steel for the McLarens, and I'll try and get a, you once the camera pivots around? No? Okay. Get that shade of blue, and I feel like for a Blue Steel it needs to be a touch darker, but that's me. That's
So
me.
you've just seen Aston run into the grass on the formation lap.
As I said,
Probably-
that's you, and your opinion's invalid, Jamie, so move on.
Usually.
Aston running onto the grass. Maybe looking for a different vantage point during the formation lap.
He's cooling his tyres down. So we've got the Fellowship of the Rings for the Audis. I love it. And I like the paint job as well that they've done with that.
Yeah, that's good. That name is good, and that paint job is very sexy. I hate coloured rims, but that works really well.
I think so. It's discreet enough. The Nissans, the Dive Bomb Datsuns. I think we like that one. Carl Peterson in the Big Bertha's motor wagons for the Mercedes. Solid choice. I've got to find because it doesn't do the logos. Oh, Bonotto's Blunderers for the Ferrari. I think that's up there for me.
Yeah, that is quite good.
Yeah, that's quite good.
You know where they are as well. They're very easy to pick on the track for some reason. The Tank Slappers for the Porsches. That's probably the most appropriate, the most apt.
Yeah.
That is what they do. BMW's Team BMW.
A bit of a nod to Kimi Räikkönen, I believe that one is. With his infamous blah when he's in interviews and he has that slight moment of thinking.
Wonderful. The Jag with Jeeves Fetch the Car. And the Honda with Civic Duty. Oh, that's cracking. Well, we are about to get underway, and the light will go green just in a moment when Britt crosses a line. The way we've done this.
Green light, go, go, go.
So we are off, and this is Villanova behind Shaquille. Oh, because it's reverse grid for the top 12, and then qualifying order. That's right.
You've just remembered?
I forgot that the top 12 was reverse grid. But either way, we have a good, clean start by the looks of things. We'll jump down the order, and as I say,
Whoa,
that,
where's that
Terry-
BMW gone? Where? Whoa.
it's Terry
That's
Darwin. I'm going to do
That's
a
a
real
hard
quick
hit
replay.
as well. There's going to be a bit of damage on that, so that's not a great start for Terry Darwin.
Oh, did he get tapped
was
by his
this?
own BMW teammate, or just lost on the curb?
I think he's lost it.
Yeah, he's
himself
done
on
that
the
all on
curb.
his own.
And that hit into the barrier is going to hurt, and he has indeed jumped straight back to pits. I think it might have damaged some of that front suspension. However, everyone else races on. See a big strong move by James Looking to get up
so
there
just
the
seeing-
outside of Shafali.
Oh, that Audi. Who's
A
that?
little bit sideways.
Neil
but he
Wood, I
keeps-
think.
So it might be
keeps
Neil
it straight.
Wood, yeah. Oh, this is an absolute mess of cars at the moment. Jags there, getting in the tussle.
Doing a good run, although it looks to my eyes like Phillips has got a run on Nichols if he wants to try and push it into Abbey. Decides not to, and in fact, he might actually just lose a position there to Van Vliet.
Oh, watch that Porsche.
He's tank slapping
no,
his way out.
No.
As we see a bit of a tandem pirouette between the Honda and the Jag. I believe that is Zachary James and Phillips. There's also a Nissan in the wall. It looks
Oh,
like,
that's a debatable rejoin there from James.
Oh, it's a few bits of ugly there, but
it is chaos,
Yeah,
that one. I think
think-
we have a safety car.
yeah,
Safety car is
Yeah,
on the
safety
move.
car is out.
First appearance of the safety car this evening. Welcome.
that's it. It wasn't. There's a few little incidents in there. It wasn't too catastrophic, but it is enough just to say, hey, let's just settle this down, get everyone back into order, make sure that we're not causing more incidents, people trying to rejoin and whatnot. If anyone's got some massive damage, then they can try and recover. So, for Terry Darwin, he's still in the pits.
Yeah, no
Yeah, I
good.
think
So he
he's-
will be a lap
yeah.
down, and there is no courtesy of letting laps drivers through in this format, unfortunately. So Terry Darwin has got a mountain ahead of him to climb if he's going to make up any valuable positions whatsoever.
Yeah, McNulty gets a bit of an opportunity to try and mitigate some of the didn't hit drive in time concerns. But let's have a look up the front to see how we got through. So Shaquille leads from Villanova, Sibiris and Boats rounding out the top four. As you can see there, Lamb, Madison, Peterson, Sinakis, Honor and Reynolds are the top 12. So, question to my mind is, where's Blair? Where's
Yeah,
Look, that's a question that
there.
is 28th. Ooh.
Now, let's have a look. Try and spot if there's any
Yeah.
damage. I can see it on the left-hand side. There's a bit of a scrape. Have a look from the rear. Get an idea. No damage there. Looks okay. So, he's been in a bit of a tussle, and that'll be part of why he's currently down in P28. He's got a big old recovery. There is quite a while to go, though. So, he's got the time. Oh, no. Oh, no. Someone's done themselves.
McLaren.
Oh, no.
What's happened
Is that
there?
Honor and a Bentley? That if there was contact between those two, the stewards are going to be punishing that pretty heavily.
Oh, there's a Jag in the
Did you see a
background.
Jag
What was
getting
that?
very
Whoa,
squiggly.
hello.
I'm going to see if I can catch this in time.
So Aston Sanikas,
no.
just a nice.
Oh,
No, that was. No, I think that's just a mix of poor reactions and slamming of brakes. Just caused that incident. There's definitely going to be a penalty there.
Yep, stewards will be
Especially-
shaking their head at that one.
Yeah, under the safety car.
Oh, and then that's the Jag in the background there. So that's what happened. Yeah, stewards are not going to be impressed with those manoeuvres whatsoever. Now, it is easy to make. You know, you're trying to just get some temperature in, and maybe you look away for a moment, and all of a sudden the car in front on a safety lap or a safety car lap has just braked in a way you didn't expect. But it is what it is. Either way, we'll have the restart here. So Shaquille has the start. Everyone cruising until he feels like it's time to go. So maybe we'll see if I can get in cockpit view. We'll get an idea of, there we go, just as he's about to cross the line, punches it, tries to make himself a little bit of a gap.
That's a good safety car restart. Pulls out a little bit of time on Villanueva. This is going to be interesting safety car restart. Oh, it's as an Audi gone already. That's Boats.
That is Boats. I'll quickly try and catch what's happened here. And
Has there been a case of
just the end
Audi
it.
tings? Looks like it may have involved a bit of Audi tings there.
Yeah, combination of that and possibly cold tyres as well. There would
Yeah,
not be any heat in
unfortunate.
those tyres from formation to one lap and then having to sit behind the safety car for a while. There's going to be some blue columns in those tyre diagrams.
Yeah, most definitely.
And that may be what was part of the incident there on the safety car, is people just trying to catch that temperature back up. can really catch you out. But yeah, those two guys as well in the pits now, so Sneakers and Honor, have a moment to think about what's happened. Either way, we race on. And the stewards get something to do. So car 666, I've just seen Jonathan Jeffries. His dot's gone yellow, but I think that's just him cutting the corner, maybe trying to avoid a bit of a scrap going on. Nothing much more severe than that, although this is where you start to feel really nervous, coming through cold tyres, through Abbey, racing, trying to find a position. I can see Vottila is trying to grab a position on Sasana ahead. Henry Bateman as well. It's one of those two BMWs, I think it is. Henry Bateman, oh, goodness. So we see Blair on a bit of a charge. He's trying to make some positions. Just judges it neatly. How much he can try and cut off boats.
Audi does have much better brakes than the Ferrari, so looking to see. Oh, looks to the inside. That's Boats in front. Oh no, that's Boats there. That's Desai in front. Sorry, I'll get my drivers right eventually. And Blair still got the inside. Got a much better exit than Boats did, but he's in a sandwich of Audis at the moment.
Yeah, both of these are drivers, quite quick drivers, and it'd probably be beneficial for Boats just to sit behind Blair and take the positions together one by one. As we see Blair get a little bit sideways coming into turn one, but he does save it, keeps it pointing in the straight line. Yeah, if they just kind of stick around together and casually make overtakes throughout the race, look after their tyres, it'll be more beneficial than going ham at each other at this point in the race.
I think there's a couple of things that really stood out for me in that little showing there. One is how cautious Blair's having to be. There's a little bit of short shifting coming out of left field, trying not to light up the rears. He's having to take some very defensive lines. And the other point is just how much more drive Boats has over him. Obviously, we see who's that ahead. Jeffries takes a little bit of grass. Now Blair is side by side, a little bit of a tap.
Please don't go three wide. No, they've kept it nice and civil. There's a big group of Audis there. That's Blair's been tapped wide. It's by Desai, I believe. Oh, and another tap. That's some close racing. That's probably a little bit rude. Didn't quite leave the room.
It feels a little bit uncomfortable. I'm not sure how well the Ferrari's handling in terms of balance. It just seems a bit too skittish. I mean, that is the Ferrari at the best of times, but I'm a little bit nervous.
Yeah, it's a much different opening phase of the race for Scott Blair this time round as it was last time. Yeah, basically had all the clear air in the world that he wanted, and now he is under fire from so many drivers at once. And he's got 12 rings of Audis in his rear view.
Yeah, look, he does. Malik saying there to leave a space. Yes, we need to leave a space. As the BMW, I think that's Hemi Bateman. Blair still on the inside using a bit of the grass as well, just trying to get round to side. He does get the job done, and our Boats is going to look to go on his teammate too, and Neil Wood there in the background, just watching this unfold. Oh, that's extremely close to the wall. Don't hit that. That's bad news. Bit of defence.
Oh, it's
a tap.
Oh, no.
There it is.
Oh,
and there's a McLaren round, and there's a
one.
BMW, and there's a Ferrari, and there's death.
Who's that McLaren? It's not Bob now. That's Ferguson.
Ferguson.
So let me jump back here and try and find out. So Ferguson, he's just coming up to Cops here. Looks like he's
He
probably
just
done this
loses
on his own.
Yep, just a bit of a snap there. We've seen at least one car, I think in each split, has done it. Don't know about green. I didn't quite catch that. I think at least one car. And there we go. Audi, Ferrari, BMW nearly got hit. That's just
Skittles.
Yeah, that's just absolute cluster fiasco.
He had a few of them on their own as well. Just Ferrari of Blair kind of, and maybe it's that distraction of seeing a car up ahead. Not sure how they're going to re-enter, and you slightly misjudge it on a very highly loaded corner. Yeah, he's had to stare at an Audi's ring for a while, and now he's going to be looking at the back of a McLaren.
It's disgusting.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know if you noticed as well when let's say that his hand slipped and he accidentally hit his flash button on the headlights. Getting a little bit of trouble for that one.
What a dive there from the Bentley, though. Who is that? It's Richards, I think. That was a good dive. Sabiras, currently P3. Looks like may have just gotten past Lamb. It's Reynolds there. Currently P5 hunting down Lamb. Wants the outside. Just tried to scare him there. Lamb didn't get the best exit though. Sabiras has gone wide, so Reynolds will look to inside. Gets round. Still makes it through Maggots and Beckett's now.
Yeah, Reynolds making a bit of a cutlet out of Lamb there.
Oh, God. I should have seen it coming.
I'm just trying to do commentator things.
Yeah.
You've seen what I've gone and like there's no hold barred. Now I feel like Lamb's car is just not behaving quite as well in some of these high-speed corners, which is about half of the track here. He's lost a couple of positions over the last couple, whereas Sabiras in his Aston looks just that bit more planted. Maybe it's the amount of speed that they're trying to carry in. Sometimes, especially in reverse grids, be really tempted to try and push your luck or in my case, ability beyond its breaking point, and can cost you pretty heavily. Because the Aston usually a fairly stable vehicle. Braden, you've got a 10 out of 10 from Neil for that one. So he's very proud of you.
For those of you that didn't know, it was actually Melik's birthday yesterday, so if you didn't wish him a happy birthday, don't do that. Become a Patreon instead.
Yeah, that's right.
That is your penance. Let's see, McCourt. At the moment, it looks like he's more just trying to hold off. Oh no, because he's just gotten past Lamb, hasn't he? Of course. I do want to jump down to though, because I've just noticed. Oh, hang on, that's not what I thought I was jumping down to.
Well, that's where you've jumped down to Vanderlei off the track. Let's have a look.
So he was a 10th behind Robert Shaw here.
Has he been turned?
No.
Oh no! And he's been put into the yep. Oh, and he's
not a whole lot you can do about that.
Yeah.
Say spanked?
Yes, he spanged it.
Oh, spanked. Oh, okay, cool. I can accept that.
Can you? Okay, we'll take it. Yeah, unfortunate. It looks like he's just gotten so much better return, and then the Aston ahead just with Jag or whatnot just hasn't expected him. So a bit for the stewards to look at. I can see car 74 has had him off as well.
Yeah, very weird place to be off.
Oh, that's...
Oh my Lord.
Let's yeah.
This is Laurie McLaughlin here, and at the time he was in about P38, so he's got Boehringer and Atanayaki ahead of him.
Has there been an incident in front? Yeah, been tapped by the Porsche. Oh, he's tried to replicate Sean Madison there. That's yeah.
That is extremely unfortunate.
Yeah, that Jag doesn't look in a good way.
He's done everything right, and then the other two cars ahead have scrapped, and he's come off the loser somehow out of it.
Yeah, there's only hindsight solutions to that problem there, unfortunately. Not a whole lot you can do there. I mean, he could have used a little bit more of the track, but as I said, that's hindsight. There's not a lot you can do.
Yeah, it's one thing when the car next to you kind of bumps into you, not expecting you there, but it's the two cars next to him have had door to door. It's kicked the car that's now in the middle into him just as his run has come to the point of crossing over. So, it was a great move by him. He'd gotten a much better exit. He's taken an opportunity of a couple of cars scrapping. It's just their scrap has led to his demise, which just hurts a little bit. Either way,
it's a silver lining to everything. That Jaguar is now a very, very nice looking paperweight.
Yeah, look, it is.
If you want a slightly used Jag bonnet, let me know. We can hook you up.
As you see, just behind him, I know focusing on this battle with Reynolds, but Madison also on Votler just behind. Only 3-4 tenths off.
Really closes it up through Beckett's there. The question is, can he convert it out of Chaplin? It feels like he has. So, is it dive bomb Datsun time? He's got a bit of a toe. He's definitely closing the gap. He's going to take the outside run, so
Yeah, Sibber's dictating the line, taking the inside there. He doesn't really want to give that position away, so he's going to make it extremely hard for Reynolds. Reynolds still looking up on the inside, putting that pressure on.
A dangerous one. I feel like there, Severus is kind of leaving a door open, and Reynolds has found the way and gotten the better drive out of club. He may even lose another one to the court.
That was some great driving by both of those drivers there, giving each other a lot of space, going through tight parts of the track, getting switchbacks. That's how it should be.
Yeah, very clean. I did wonder, did Severus have enough room to not defend into Vale? Because he went to the regular racing line, and it was almost an open enough door for Reynolds to get involved then. Reynolds did kind of half try the attacking move. I just wonder if he had played that differently and maybe looked more to compromise Reynolds' line by taking a bit more defensive position, would he have been able to hold it off? If Watson maybes, but these are the things I think all of us are looking to learn as well when we do some of these races, is how could I better defend, how could I better attack? But for Reynolds, I think he's taken that about as well as you could and gotten the position out of it, so well done to him.
Just as we watch McCourt here, he's obviously trying to get onto the back of Sibris here and try and make a position as Reynolds has. But I think he's going to want to make it sooner rather than later, because a little further behind, you've got Britt tailing, and we know how quick Britt has been in the qualifying sessions. And I think Britt is on an absolute charge. I don't think he's out of overtake moves in this race so far, so I think we will see a bit more. McCourt doesn't want to be the first victim.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a few victims though, so Britt would have started in P13, so he's already taken a number of scalps.
Yeah, that's correct.
And I feel like, I get the feeling based on how we've seen this Ferrari handling around this track. Once you... yeah.
Okay.
Well, I don't know. We're looking at McCourt. And I think once you're in a bit of a groove, you've got a bit of a pattern, a bit of a rhythm, a feel for it, then he'll start to be able to make it work even more. Though, it's here, it's always Abby. Abby, to me, the scariest car on this track by a large margin. I feel like I've had most of my race endings have been at Abby. He looks a lot more postured, I think, there in that Ferrari now. So, good things to come, I suspect. But to who and at what expense? Let's have a little bit further down the order. I can see Shafali has gotten right up into McMahon ahead. But he's got Vanderlei right behind. And Vanderlei, a pro-class driver and not without good reason, very, very swift. But I think two more different cars I'm not sure you could find here. I suppose they're both German. That's about the only similarity. They've both got four wheels.
Scott Blair's going huge as well. I looked at Scott Blair on the timing sheets about 2 minutes ago and he was P19. He's now sitting P15. So I don't know if there was issues ahead of him that has led him to inherit a few positions, or if he's just gone absolutely huge and found some positions in a very short space of time. Yeah, Scott Blair making big moves. Climbing his way back up the pack.
7-second gap, but once that gets close to the rubber shore, we might see if we can have a look. So see Shafali there, find a little bit of extra road off to the side. Maybe a warning for that, depends if he lifts. Let's see, Vanderlei. Team name is Tank Slappers, but he looks to have this car well under control.
So, Jamie, you're being told how to pronounce Scafely's name. Or Shafely. I've probably just
Shafali.
It up. No, it's
actually pronounced Scafely. Okay.
Scafely?
Scafely.
Now Raggy's wondering how you've gotten Shafali. Jamie, how'd you get that? Can you tell us?
Yeah, no one said it last season, so I don't know where you pulled that from.
Yeah, even you said...
Oh, I've just inserted an R there, I
Shafely.
think. Maybe it's just my enunciation.
Or it's just...
It sounds like that I've put an R in there, but I haven't. Shafely. I'll take that as well, that's fine. Well, I think about 30% of our comments is people correcting me on my pronunciation. I'm not sure I'm happy with these bigger grids with more opportunity to get it wrong.
Yeah, I mean, Saxton, you've got beautiful eyes on the outside, but I suppose they're not so great on the inside.
No.
You're not great on the outside either, to be fair. I'll take the compliment. I'll accept it. Either way, you could see during that debate, Vanderlei has gapped Ferguson a little bit more. And he's looking to try and convert this, although I'm not sure how McMahon's playing into this. Is he holding them up? Is he having to defend? Or is this kind of the pace that they're at the moment?
It's looking like he looks like he might be struggling a little bit. I know, Jamie and I can speak from experience. The Honda's not the nicest car around here, let's say, and it looks like that Shafley might actually be holding Vanderlei up a little bit there as McMahon gets away through turn 1 through Maggots and Beckett's. This is where the BMW will be in the league of its own, especially against rear-engined German Volkswagen Beetle. Oh, sorry, I mean Porsche. Just looking to see if Vanderlei might go on the attacking or just wait for the mistake.
So I think there's a bit of a challenge issued in chat by Neil Alexander. Pronounce this word. Otorhinolaryngologist. Surely that's close,
right?
And I didn't realise as well. I assumed that Emily Kate Shafley is his wife/partner.
Yes, correct.
So I suppose she's an expert on how to actually pronounce.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was going to say that, but I thought I'd let you figure it out for yourself. Andy, you're just being a smart ass now.
Although I know that when I spoke to Cheviot about his, he said it took his wife, if I remember correctly, about 7 years to figure it out.
Wow,
to get it down.
That's a long time.
So I'm sure that we're not doing well. But he is, and he's holding off Vanderlei. And I mean, Vanderlei is a very quick driver. I certainly cannot match his pace. But Shafley is doing very well. I tell you what I did see last lap, though. And it's a bit of a concern for Vanderlei, is he had to tap the brakes coming into Copse to avoid a collision. And I tell you what I think you do not want in a Porsche, and that is coming to a high-speed corner, having to shift a whole bunch of weight to the front really abruptly.
Nah, what do you mean? That's perfectly okay. That's not bad or anything.
That's an ideal situation.
Yeah.
That is. I think his underwear needs a quick check after that one, because that is about as terrifying as it comes. Car 326 is off. Jeff Sharp.
Oh Lord, that's destroyed.
Straight to the
That is
gone.
Oh,
a 1080 and then some.
Yeah,
that's gonna hurt.
He could have hit any other part of the fence and he would have been better off.
Yeah.
Honestly, the worst part of the fence he could have hit. That's very unlucky.
That if he can drive that straight.
Yeah, look, he can't. Let's put it that way.
Well, I mean, the steering's not that okay. He turns it left and the car does not go with it.
It's no. It's
very loosely connected at this point, so
yeah, it's not that good.
Fortunately, it's close to the pits.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been turn 1. If it was turn 1, then that's teleport straight away. You only had 2 corners to get through then to be able to make a pit lane.
Yeah, that's right.
So we didn't exactly see what happened there, but the stewards will review that one, I'm sure. Let's see here. Props to Shaquille. He's held off, and with gusto, he's held a good gap to Villanova this entire race. He's doing very, very well there, while everyone else scraps. What's a fight you want to have a look at now, Hobbs? Though I've been driving things around. What's piqued your interest?
I thought you'd never ask.
Having a look at Butler Sassana Bub now. I wouldn't mind having a look at that.
Butler.
Well, now just hang on a second. What's that Nissan back there? Can we have a look at that?
Now I think that was because it's not Ashland Reynolds. That's a blue flagged Nissan.
It's a blue flag Nissan. That's okay.
Peterson? It is Peterson. At the moment, he's just letting everyone through. So you guys go.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, fair enough.
this scrap is what you wanted to see. So Votler, who's trying to hold off Susanna and Bub now, has a big old gap ahead to Madison to try and catch.
Yeah, it's looking pretty good. All three of these... No, sorry, I was going to say all three of these drivers from different cars. Votler is the only one who has stayed loyal to the Bimmer. Susanna has switched to the Porsche, hits that curve a bit from the Bentley, and Bub now switches to the McLaren from the Mercedes. So we all see them, especially Susanna at the moment. It's really making up some time on Votler, even though hitting that curb definitely lost him a good 10th. Bub now nice through there, using all of the steering angle of that McLaren, just waiting for this scrap to take off and hoping that he can take an advantage. Just wait and see though. Susanna getting right up close and personal with that blue Beamer. Is that blue? Or is that some shade of blue that someone's going to tell me the name of that I'm not going to have ever heard of?
I just like to see it as all sorts.
All sorts?
Licorice
Yeah,
all sort.
fair. Well, yeah, I don't like licorice, but sure.
That's not my problem.
A mintish blue.
Yeah, it looks...
Says the
It is
colourblind
blue,
man.
but it's a... Oh, nearly lost it on the exit there. In these minty bluish BMW.
It's a cool breeze blue.
Yeah,
Ocean
there's
fresh.
been a
It is.
few-
It is.
There's been a few toothpaste claims. Now that's not Madison ahead, is that? No. So that is a blue flag
No,
Nissan.
that's the blue flag Nissan, I do believe. Hopefully it won't hold up anyone coming into Maggots. Ooh, just slams on the brakes to let Bub now pass. This is where the BMW will shine. Sestana doing his best. Porsche does, from memory, have very good exits out of corners. That's where the BMW lacks, of course, having that turbo lag.
That's definitely some great behaviour by that blue flags car as well, I might add. I've seen some shocking blue flag behaviour in the past. So
Yeah.
give a nod to him.
Yeah, if
some good behaviour.
anyone confused in chat that hasn't seen the Sprint Series before, we do not run the GT3 blue flag system. We run the F1 blue flag system where the slower car must get out of the way of the car that is blue flagging them.
That's it. Especially when there's a scrap behind you, it is just best and polite, I think, to make sure that you're not interfering with that, because that's what we race for. It's not big prize money on the line, but people enjoy racing other people, otherwise they would hot lap the whole time.
That's right. Might need to move away from this battle, Mr. Saxon, because it looks like McCourt's right on the heels of Sabiras, if I'm seeing these times correctly. It's also got Britt and Lamb behind. Whoa, what's that? There's a Nissan. That might be Madison. Is that Mr. Sean
No, that's
Madison?
Britt and McCourt.
Madison?
There was a spin in the background of a Nissan. I don't know whether it was Madison. He's a fair way back. So I reckon it
I think
may...
it's
Oh, no, it was Reynolds.
It's Reynolds.
Wow.
So let me see if I can get
Yeah,
that. 30
see
seconds
if we can
might-
get
is
that.
probably enough. Here we go. So he was having a
Okay.
run on Lamb.
Ooh.
Definitely overcooked
What's that? Who's that Bentley? Oh, bit of a tap. Wow, that was...
So I think it
Wow.
was Lamb in the Bentley that he was having a run out there. I think. If I've got that
Lamb's
right.
an Aston driver, so that's wrong.
Okay, so it's probably not that. There might be Villanova.
Yeah, it could be Villanueva. Yeah, you could be right.
Yeah, I think he's really kind of pushed. I mean, I might have done that yesterday, where I just tried to outbrake well and truly too late into Brooklands. Sorry,
could-
Wayne.
May have been a... Actually, it might have been a blue flagged Bentley because Villanueva is still in second.
True, the Bentley that I saw didn't get too impacted, and it is this No, that's Villanova.
That is Villanueva, okay.
He did
Clearly,
lose a little
I
bit of
need to go
pace.
to-
So
Yeah, he
Sabiris closed the gap up a little bit, but fortunately, at least in that tap, his car did kind of get corrected to face forward again, so he was able to just
Yeah.
kind of get on the gas and continue on.
Yes, exactly right.
But Britt
See.
might be the one to have a look at. Here, let's go to the bonnet cam.
Yeah.
We haven't given the bonnet a bit of a
Yeah,
run
bonnet
tonight.
cam. This is Bender cam.
Ugh.
Let's have a look. Britt is looking at a podium for the moment. Probably a little bit too far behind. Just under 10 minutes to go now in this race. Probably too far behind to think about getting a P1. I think Shaquille will be taking full advantage of these 4 cars battling to try and get away. Caught there, just getting a good exit.
It's a good time. Just got to wait for the opportunity, although McCourt's been pursuing some of these for quite a while. And now Shaquille has managed to pull that gap to Villeneuve. So what it took was Villeneuve getting a little bit of a tap. But we will see. Villeneuve? Dowd, apparently, Dowd says that I'm incorrect in how I'm pronouncing Villeneuve. Villeneuve?
Villanueva.
I'm wrong about everything, apparently. It's just hurtful.
You just learn how to speak English.
Dang on, these aren't English last names.
Well, no, but if you look at them and try and spell them out, you might be able to pronounce them.
Take your time, Saxon.
This is what I Villanueva? Okay, I'm not enunciating that part correctly. There we go. Either way, McCourt looks like he's just gotten a move on Sabiris.
Brett now.
Seen it with
Gonna
their own
look.
eyes.
Oh, 3. Oh, that could have been a potential incident there, but Britt knows better, just holds back, knows he can make the time up on Sabiras, and now McCourt will be absolutely running away with it. You see Lamb behind Britt as well, just getting in on the fight as Reynolds. He's got a 15-second pen. I don't know if that's for the tap that caused him to go around himself, but it's there now.
You might be right.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what the lower end of the field is looking like, because we didn't see many penalties last race until we looked at those guys, and there was just a flood of red.
I think better than last time, that's for sure. But we will see. The time will come. Everyone's just commenting on how to pronounce Villanueva.
Villanueva.
Spoonful is saying that essentially saying that the L is more of a Y. That may be correct. He's pointed out though it's a Spanish name, not an English name. So give me a
okay.
My last name's Saxon, mate. You don't get much more.
Yeah, that's very Anglo-Saxon.
That's very Anglo, yeah.
Someone tried to tell me once that they were more Anglo than I was, and I'm not sure why you'd be proud of that. But also, what are you talking about? I'm like, is your last name Anglo? No. Okay, that's about the only way you top me on this very strange metric. Whatever works for you, I guess. Either way, it looks like Lamb is falling a little bit back behind this, and McCourt is starting to find a bit more space. I do see a massive pack, though, that I want to go have a look at. And it's these boys. Because... okay, it looks less massive once you're looking at it that way. You can see it on the track back there, from Neil Wood back, and I think if I do this... see, there's a pretty good run of cars all the way down. In fact, that's Blair. Or Blair.
Oh, good pronunciation. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Now you're onto it. Blair.
Blair.
As he looks to get a bit of a cut back there and gets another tap. I think he's been tapped about 11 million times. Trying to make moves.
Goes
out.
around the outside of Bottes.
I want
Classic Wood.
How many-
James
How many wheels are inside the white line here?
None.
Whoosh.
So he might actually be asked to give that back. I'm not too
He
sure.
might. We'll see.
Oh, well.
Well.
Boats has gone wide anyway. That's Steve Lewis there in the big Bont. Just looking for a move. You just see Jeffries there in the background, who's got Vanderlei right on him too. They're all hunting for this mysterious P16.
Okay. Let's see. Oh, as we see, and it looked like it might happen.
That's
And
Jeffries
it did.
round.
Let's have another look at that, and we might.
I think that's Vanderlei deciding to redress the position. Let's have a look. Goes for the dive. I do believe that's... yeah.
Yeah, seems like he couldn't really get it stopped in time. Couldn't really get that really tight line. There was
Yeah,
space on the
he's-
track, but he
he's
used a
being
little more than he was given.
Yeah, he's being very generous in handing back that position. It's very good sportsmanship. We love to see it.
I'll tell you what, from my eyes, that was very, very close to an amazing move. It wasn't an amazing move, but it was very close to it in that as the car in front has come back across to take the apex, you're only talking half metre at most, and then there's no touch. It was very, very marginal touch, but it's enough. Absolutely spins the other car out.
Here at OOR, we strive for almost good.
yeah, we're almost good. That's right.
Well, you know, sometimes you're like that move would have been bang on, and it would have gotten him right up behind enough speed to try and make something work through left field. But instead, he's just pushed it a bit too much. Just a touch more brake, and he'd have been fine, and in fact in a really good position. But that's the hard thing. It's one thing to race when there's a big gap, but racing close, especially into a braking zone, very, very difficult. But at the end of the day, we're here to learn, and that is what we are doing. Be it racing or pronouncing last names, it's all about the learnings. Let's have a look at Thornton here. So he's trying to hold off boats behind. Let's get some style cameras.
Yeah, we'll happily take anything that's not far chase or chase cam.
Just you wait. The night's not done yet.
I know there's still another split to go.
See, pass. This camera work in ACC is super sweet, and I agree. I think it actually. These are just default settings, default camera sets, and they do quite a good job. So, and how is the YouTube 1080p at 60 frames per second? I think looks very, very good. I've never really looked at it, but that Jag, as you get that kind of camera angle as it comes at you at the front, a couple of weird air intakes on either side.
Yeah, it looks like it's going as it comes down.
Yeah.
Looks a little bit unhappy. And indeed, Thornton there will be slightly unhappy. Good work as well by Boats there to make sure that he's setting the line and not opening up too many counter-attacking opportunities. Any opportunity for Robert Shaw, or Thornton rather, to get back through. So Boats will take that position. Thornton will have to settle back in as we come into the dying moments of this race.
Sorry to interrupt, but there's news in the chat. Bender got taken out.
Oh no.
Oh no.
It looks like it was in the last sector as well, because he has just dropped a number of positions. Although, to be fair, he has reclimbed to P30 from the absolute back of the pack that he started this race on. So,
Recline, is that a word?
yeah, well, because it's been up and down. Is my version of the truth here. Either way, Shaquille, he's on his final lap. Haven't watched too much of him, and that's because he kind of gapped it since the start. Has been continuing on. What's the closest one? Britt. Been in P5 for about the last 10 minutes. Car 74, I can see, is very much off, but we're on the final lap, so we're going to watch this run to the podium. You can see Villanueva. I can't remember what we agreed on earlier.
Just mumble it. Just mumble it.
Yeah. Has the final step. With severe.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Not bad for an M class driver, by the way. P3
Yeah,
M class. That's very strong showing. Same with Ferguson. Last race was very high up the order for an M class driver. So there's a couple of M class drivers to have a look at over the season to see where they can place themselves.
That's it. Well, to me, it's pretty outstanding that we've got, what's this, piece 3 through to 7. Right at the end of the race are all on top of each other as we see a car well and truly off the track.
Oh, is that Villanueva?
Surely not.
Is that Bentley?
It is.
It is.
What has
Brayden,
happened
that's
here?
on you.
Abby? No.
Possibly
Yeah,
too much. Just a curb. Yeah. just off the curb.
Oh.
And
There's a fair bit
is that
going on around him
Lambo? Is that Lambo Shaquille?
I hope not.
Yes.
Oh
McCourt.
no way!
McCourt's in
McCourt on the
first.
last lap. No
I don't even know
way.
what's happened here. I don't have time to catch up because now we've got to go back to this. So McCourt's in P1. He's about to cross the line. Shaquille come through in second. Severus will take third. Britt fourth. In the end,
Very
Lamb
nice.
fifth and just has enough to hold off Madison to the line. Maybe some fuel issues there. Oh, what could have been. Reynolds finishes in seventh. Renova does make it through in eighth. Will be seventh with the penalty. Oh, it's just a bit of a debacle to the end. Have a look here in this pack here. This is Steve Lewis in 19th. Now he's got Ferguson with a 20-second penalty ahead of him. Nichols 10 seconds behind him. Jeffries 15 seconds. But these boys are not done. Or are we going to come through in a procession and most of them just say, look, no more penalties, just get it across the line. I'll take what I've got. Success Sneakers as well come through. So that is about the end of this race. It's the last couple to catch up on. We've got to jump pretty quickly over to the next split, but we'll see everyone across the line, get that final standings. We can catch just the end of qualifying for Split Red. But oh my goodness, we don't even have time to go back and see what happened with Shaquille, I think. Really do need to get to Split Red.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but Shaquille's got nothing to be ashamed of. That was an absolutely stellar drive, apart from the blunder at the end. And it's a good start for Shaquille's season. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it's his first season in the OOR Sprint Series as well.
It is indeed.
Yeah, so yeah, great display for race one for Shaquille. Technically race two.
That's it.
I look forward to seeing more. I want to see a little bit of redemption in the future. That'll feel a bit good. Feel very good.
And I mean, still a P2 is very, very solid. So I just want to see Sharp cross the line. That'll give us the final standings. I can show it all to you and we can move on to the next split. Yeah, I think he'll be one to watch. Absolutely. So in the end, McCourt takes first from Shaquille. Sibiris third in class, first in the Pro-Ams. Britt second in Pro-Ams, fourth overall. Lamb third in Pro-Ams and fifth overall. And it is time. Shaquille with a row of question marks. We have the same. I'd love to find out. I might go look at it privately after the fact, but we have to get over to Split Red. We will catch just the end of qualifying for that one.
Oh, just caught the end.
Indeed. So Zach Smith looks to have taken pole over McIntosh. Baldwin in third. Udit Sen, P4, leading the Pro-Am class. Washington fifth. Jacobs sixth. There is still a couple of boys still out there. Because of the time that I've joined, I can't catch them, I think. Maybe. No, I can't.
No, you won't be able to hit drive, which is a bit rude, but you might be able to at least find them.
So Washington's still yet to... I can't see their deltas. This is kind of what I can see. So we'll have to guess and imagine. Is Washington, does he have what it takes to get a little bit further up the grid? It's a half-tenth or thereabouts would get him in position. Look at that. 1, 2 and 3 all within a tenth as well.
Yeah, that's insane. Let's see if he goes up. He doesn't.
Not quite. A couple more. Holmes. Not there. Chalmers. Not there. Powell. I think he's going to be the last. He doesn't go. They're just pushing about everything he can out of Luffield to try and get that across the line. He has jumped a number of positions there, up into 17th. There must be someone else still doing that, because otherwise I'd be able to move on. David Neighbour here. About 2.5 seconds behind. Big gains, even a couple of tenths, huge jumps. And does jump up with a half second or 4/10 gain, gets him up to P20. There we go. I think our top 10 are about what we said they were when we joined into the server. A couple of shuffles, so now I can hit the drive button. And that will let me get everything back to normal. So 14 degrees ambient, 14 degrees track. It's 1 degree cooler on both respectively on what we saw for the first race tonight. So again, tyre temperatures, brake temperatures over this formation lap going to be absolutely critical. Now I've got a few new names that I've not seen before, and certainly a few recurring drivers from the previous splits, previous seasons. Zach Smith, as we expect, performing very, very well. Great driver.
Yeah, just a freak of nature when it comes to sim racing across the board. Put him on any sim and he'll be able to dominate in it.
I don't know how he does it, but he does. We love to see it. So Dieball's very happy with that one. Franco giving us a Super Nintendo Chalmers. Chalmers down in P18. Believe. So, Boatley McBoatface and the Missin Nissan. The Missin Nissan, I love it. He better be in a Nissan. There we go, he is too.
Yeah, he is.
As he must be.
It's fantastic to see Behe out on track this season as well.
Yeah, he's a previous sprint driver. I couldn't exactly tell you the season. I dare say, excuse me, it might have been season 2 or 3 maybe.
Yeah, I think he has been in later ones. Possibly not the last one though.
Yeah, I remember him, and I've seen older streams of him racing, I think in the Porsche actually, in earlier ACC seasons. I do believe it was at least season 3 or before, and he hasn't been back since then. But he is back now in the Porsche.
Yep, a few other familiar names like Mohammed Zini as well, sitting down in P23 at the moment. He's very strong when it comes to the F1 seasons. He's known as the Lord of Time Management. He'll easily do 100,000 laps on the softs, any track.
Yeah, that's a lot of laps.
Seeing some fresh nicknames. So I see 17 race from Brazil joining us tonight. What time is it in Brazil? Not sure. We're happy to have you here.
Have a look.
I like where Moritz has gone with. You did send it.
Yeah, it's currently 8:45 in Brazil. AM.
Get up early to listen to us. I'll tell you what, my missus doesn't like it when I listen to me early in the morning, so I feel for you, but I appreciate that you've come. See, what have we got for a safety car? That is a horrid safety car.
Oh, who made that?
I don't know, but I was surprised to see that it was the Alpine.
The Alpine's growing on me as a car. It's the bonnet, it's the headlights that kind of put me off, to be fair. I mean, this colour scheme is... I feel like it's
revolting.
Decidedly unsafe. As
Yeah.
people poke their eyeballs out trying to follow it. But it's this...
Well, yeah.
That purple is so vibrant. I think like a darker
very
purple.
bright.
A darker purple would have been a bit nice. That's a lot of purple.
That's fair. I feel like the Alpine to me looks like two different cars smashed together. Because the rear it just doesn't. It's the front just looks so out of place to me. But I think it's growing on me slowly. It's growing.
Is it though? Because it's clearly gotten two eyes of past victims who have gouged their eye out at the front of it and put it on the front. So
it's the bulging low headlights, I think, that kind of distract.
Well, but that's a what's the word? A homage to the original A110.
Look how narrow it is compared to the other cars behind, like the Bentley. It's gonna get eaten.
Just like the Bentley's it's just gonna scare it.
That's one scared safety car.
It's like when you see those pictures of the wide big boy Beamers at like the M8s on like Le Mans and stuff. That's what we're seeing here.
That's it. Is it the front? Just kind of the grille just looks like it's being forced to hold a smile. Like it's okay.
I don't really like those.
The big bad GT3s will go away soon, and I can continue. Anyway, we're about to start. I think this is my turn now, isn't it? I'm going with it.
No idea.
All right, here we go. So Zach Smith in P1, leading from McIntosh. He's got Baldwin behind him. Sen just can close it up a little bit more. There's a bit of a gap there. Not too bad. You can see McIntosh, he's keen, he's ready to pounce. It's got maybe a slightly better run already, although the outside line is going to put heat to that. Already McIntosh struggling to keep the car in a straight line. That's going to cost him a couple of positions, but he's not sent it any further into a wall or anything like that. Sen pops up into third. Baldwin takes fourth. Washington rather is jumping in. Yeah. Oh no. It doesn't look like full yellows. Just some cars going slower than race pace. Although we've already got a safety car.
There's a safety car.
So what has happened back here? Because it didn't look too bad to my eyes. But let me maybe just pop down a bit further in the order. Go back in time 30 seconds. Let's see if we're finding any kind of big old incidents. So far, I mean, it's got the hallmarks of chaos, but I didn't see what's caused that.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot happening, unless it was a bit further back, but how much further back could it possibly be?
Not seeing...
First started from the pits, but...
Yeah, not seeing anything wrong there.
But the safety car is out, so... Yeah, must have been something that they saw that we haven't.
Maybe they're just not happy about our comments about the safety car and the livery.
You
and
might
they put it back out on track just to really rub it in. Oh,
That's
put it away.
Oh, we get some reasonable photo ops here though. So, get on the cars and the cameraman catches up. I do like the Civic Duty name. I think that's just, there's a little bit of hint of sophistication as well. Ain't that? That I like.
Personally, I like Vantage Point. I think there's some nice creativity behind that name. Whoever come up with that, I tip my hat to you, my friend.
I feel like I really like Tracing Point from last season though.
Yeah,
that gave me a solid chuckle every time I saw it.
Yeah.
But I see what you're saying. And there's no losers here, I think all of the names have gone well. The teams have come up with some good options. I tell you what, I don't mind that Honda colour scheme, but I'm happy that I'm not driving it again this season. I mean, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's always good for a change. It's always good to be driving a new car, get to test something new out, whether it's going from a mid to a front engine or to rear, front to mid, whatever. It's always good to drive a new car, you know, develop your skills a bit more and understand your new car rather than staying in one car for, you know, extended periods of seasons, which I know some people do and they are stupidly quick. But sometimes it's good just to try something different.
Yeah, I mean, it's not super impressive if you can set super fast laps in one car and win all the races in one car, and then someone says, all right, cool, jump in this car, and I'll jump in that car, and we'll see how we go, and how the turns have tabled.
I mean, I'd take winning any of the races though, let alone all of them.
Yeah.
Sometimes struggle to start the races.
Yeah.
I'll take reliably makes it through to about turn 3.
Sometimes you just forget to hit the drive button.
We've all been there as well.
Well, we've all been there, not necessarily in a sprint series race though.
That's fair. So the Alpine gets a bit more discomfort, but at least he's able to drive at pace this time, so that's all right.
I can't get over that paint scheme. It's actually horrendous.
Let's look a bit further back. Let's get away from
Well, I mean, to be fair, you do want the safety car to be seen, and they've achieved that. But,
That's something. I was saying there's people that can go fast in a soup can. I like that. Okay, I think you're not wrong.
Yeah, I don't not agree with that yet. Getting nice and up close, which is probably not advised considering the cars are not ghosted like they usually are on the outlapped behind the safety car before the start of the race, so they've got to be extremely careful, and there are penalties that will apply if you do something like that and nearly hit someone.
Yeah, and that's Behe as well that was in the Porsche. Behe does know a little bit better than that. So we've been a little bit of a Code Brown moment, and don't let it happen again.
There's a few. And at this point, they will be saying, no warming your tyres, no warming your brakes. I'm seeing a few cars jostle in a way that kind of suggests that they're not... Oh, no.
Oh, no. It's been a bit of an incident at the back there. That's not what you like to see.
I haven't gone back quite far enough to find out exactly who's involved, but and that Nissan has been hit hard. Drew, because that bonnet, not looking great. Now that may be a pre-existing incident, that may be indeed what's called the safety car, although the race is on, so we should get back up to the front and see what's going on here. So McIntosh keeps his... No, he's grabbed P1 off that restart, off Smith. With Washington up in third. So that, I think, is a bit of a mix-up. We were having a look at that incident on the safety car. However, now with the single file, it looks like everyone in the streaming through the background is coming through pretty safely. The race orders still start to update. We shouldn't be seeing too many shuffles. Maybe a couple here and there. Nothing too dramatic.
Gentlemen.
So it looks like Matrillo has actually had a bit of an incident. I'm trying to grab him there. He's dropped down a number of positions. That restart might have just run a bit wide or something similar to that. You can see a number of AM-Class drivers with us for this one as well, so that's very good to see.
Well, as that Jaguar just gets a little tap in the rear, and I think it may have spun that one around.
Oh, I didn't catch that, so it would be Parkin, I think. Maybe just had a bit of a touching moment. So continues on fairly safely. Let's get a bit of a look, maybe at Floyd here. He's having a bit of a run at Sassano ahead. He's got a fair run of cars. Girardi is the better part of a second behind him. So he's got a little bit of breathing room to try and make a move if he thinks he can get some positions over Sassano. Maybe have a look at Cheviot's up ahead. Andy saying that the McIntosh was indeed actually P1 under the safety car, so I was off with the fairies a little bit looking at other things. So you saw who was that off to the side? Didn't quite catch it. I'm trying to catch the car numbers. Jake Baldwin has been involved in an incident. Let's have a look. Looks like his cops is fairly clean, so it must be in through Maggots and Beckett's. Too bad on the curb there. Just catches it uncomfortably. Fortunately, rolls himself off the racing line, and will have been able to get it, almost get it going again pretty smoothly. Looked good for a moment, and I want to say that's maybe just a cold tyres issue there, as they're all getting back up to temperature. Very easy to make mistakes. So pushing a lot, as we've said, 14 degrees track and ambient. Everyone will have been deep in the blues, especially under that safety car.
It looks like Washington has a little bit of a challenge ahead of him, just for the overall season. Washington did get P1 for Season 5 last season in his split, being split green. Only being tailed by Smith. So Smith and Washington are going to be racing each other very hard throughout the season. Two people to watch. Also very good friends off track as well.
Yeah, absolutely. A bit of a switch. Sorry, go ahead.
I think another thing that I want to keep tabs on with Washington is he was one of 3 drivers to be in the top 10 of all 15 races last season. So I want to see if he can keep that record going, see if he can make it 16 and 17 after tonight. Those other two drivers that were in top 10 or 15 races were Adini and Juon.
That's a good point. And he'll have a bit of an understanding here, because if I recall correctly, he was driving the Aston last season, Smith driving the Bentley. So each of them following their previous season's cars, they should have a good understanding of where they are strong and where they are weak. But for the moment, I'm almost missing it, because it looks like there's a move on here between Jacobs and Sen. Jacobs looking to try and go around the outside, Sen having none of it, holds the inside and then goes apex to apex, which essentially locks Jacobs out. But you see he's gotten a good run on him. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Washington, top quality driver, really well skilled and a wonderful guy as well. So.
Just Andy O'Hara in chat with the correction. Smith was in the Aston. Washington was in the McLaren last season.
That's a good point. There you go. I think it was Washington the Aston the season beforehand. So I'm sure he's done a season in Aston.
I'll take your word for it.
I believe it in my bones that he did, but I could be wrong. So these boys getting into a fair bit of a scrap. I want to jump back down here. So this is P11. I've got the camera centered on, but we can see everything from 8 through to, what's that, 12? 13? So up ahead it's Holmes. Let's see if I can get a bit of this view. See behind him immediately is Gibbons. Cheviot's in the bright yellow Ferrari. Can't miss that one. He's got a Mercedes of his own to worry about behind him. Just in the background there, Girardi lurking, ready to pounce if this should turn into anything a bit spicy. Great view there as Cheviot's had a little bit of a look, but very difficult to make anything happen through Mackett's and Beckett's other than staying on the racing line or finding a swift exit into the wall.
Yeah, Cheviot's definitely putting on the pressure here as he gets overtaken by the Mercedes of Floyd just behind him. Does have the inside line. He's going to keep that position, but for how long?
Not long, I guess.
Claiming that inside line. He dictates the line. He does have the position. He lives to fight another day. So he will hold off Floyd for now, but Floyd isn't going to give up that easily, so Floyd's going to be looking for another way through.
Yeah, it did look like, from the glimpses we got on the camera, it did look like Cheviot's was struggling a little bit more through Mackett's and Beckett's. The car was just swaying around a fair bit. And that, I think, will have meant that his run out of Chapel did leave him vulnerable to Floyd, and that's what we saw. But I would have thought that once they hit about Vale, he'd have the car that is just going to make those tighter turns a bit stronger, so you can kind of reset. It's always an interesting tussle. Oh, 789 or 798. He's had an off. Let me try and grab that. That's Francis Matrillo. Let's go back and check out what's happened here. So Francis is in the BMW, the 798 car, as I say. And I think this is going to be an Abbey moment.
Abbey moment. Yep, there goes the rear. Goes for a drift and gets tapped by the Audi.
I think a little bit started to get loose on the AstroTurf, and you can run it. You just got to be a little bit more careful, but it was too much.
Yeah, it seemed like a little bit of a late turn in it as well, so there may have been some awkward tap of the brakes.
And
nice donuts.
If you want to see what an Abbey moment looks like in a Ferrari instead.
Yeah, he's done the same thing minus the Audi tap.
So Wanafik, another familiar name floating around OOR. I'm not too sure if he's competed in a ACC series before, but he's another one of our very strong drivers from the F1 series. He's just trying to get to grips with ACC at the moment.
Yeah, it's obviously very different kind of racing.
Yeah, it is quite a culture shock for everyone, unless you're Zachary Smith.
That's it. He is a machine. These boys keeping it fairly clean here, though. So we've got he, Misson, and Rashudi. Again, 3 very different cars. So we'll see that kind of ebb and flow as their different strengths come into play and their weaknesses show up at different parts of the lap. For now, though, I thought it's all about Misson just trying to stay in touch, because he might get half an overtaking opportunity depending on how comfortable he is feeling in the car into Cops.
Frank Lucid in chat pointing out, good mix of cars in the top 15. Yeah, good observation. The first match I see is P5 and P10 of Jacobs and Gibbons in the McLaren. And there isn't a repeat until the Bentley in P13. So yeah, it's Chalmers is falling down the order. Something bad has happened there. Chalmers was in that top 15, has now fallen down to P21.
Braden, I think you're a little bit blind.
Why?
There was 2 Mercs that were before the Bentleys, but you know, you do you.
Yeah, sorry, Hobbs.
It was only like P12, and he did say 13 for the Bentley.
Yeah,
so it wasn't much of a gap, but
it
that doesn't stop us here.
No, it doesn't. You know, if we're going to cane you for not being able to speak basic English, then we'll cane Braden for not being able to see.
Oh, you're not able to pronounce unusual European surnames. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm here to see words and names. Saxon's here to see pictures.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're here for, Hobbs.
I'm just here to lower the average age. Whoa, what's that Aston doing?
Jesus.
I think Chalmers and Zenchin there both looking to catch back up. So we didn't quite catch the incident that Braden pointed out. Chalmers certainly involved in one, has dropped him down into P21. I think Zenchin might have been caught up in it as well. So they'll be eager to regain position. But Chalmers, that car just looks a little bit unsettled. I'm not sure about it. Indeed, he's been tapped in the rear, and you can tell based on a little bit of damage to that rear spoiler. But it just feels a bit twitchy.
You do realise you are talking about the Honda?
Of course. I just want to get a sense for its posture through some of these corners here.
And you say twitchy, but these days we prefer the term YouTubey.
It's horrible.
There's a door, you can see yourself there.
I mean, they say if there's a door open, you don't go for it, you're not a racing driver. I'm not sure that's what they meant. But we'll go with it. Okay, so I feel like Chalmers there through Brooklyn's Luffield did feel a little bit more comfortable. So maybe just a bit of anger or aggression or whatnot, a bit of fierceness coming off an incident. I can see another car's had an off. Appears to be 798 again, I think. Didn't quite catch it in time, so I'm not entirely sure. Got this scrap though is still going on, so he, Miss and Rashudi hasn't really changed. We are into the dying moments of this race. So McIntosh, Smith, Washington still in the top 3. Sen and Jacobs 4 and 5. Also first and second in the Pro-Am categories. And Misson here, third step of that particular podium. See, car 787 just flashes yellow.
Oh,
that is
the Audi
there.
is taking a very interesting line. I might try that myself. Maybe I'll find some time.
I suspect that you will not. Oh, that was Sen. Did I just see that on the screen and not quite caught it? Exactly what's happened there.
That's a good way to. Whoa! It's a good way to mount the curb.
Yes, I haven't quite caught it in time, but that will have dropped him down from P4 to it looks like P8.
That weird turn in when he got back onto the track, that seems like he was very frantic on the wheel, making a lot of rotations. Thought it was straight. Turns out he had to do another full 360 with the wheel to have the wheels pointing in the right direction. Seemed like there was a little bit of that going on. I do that all the time, and it's very frustrating.
Yeah, we've been there. So this looks like the big battle to the end. So McIntosh has got a big gap to Smith behind him. Smith, a fair gap to Washington. There's another second there. But missing in the dive bomb Datsun Nissan. He's got a chance. What a hell of a chance there. He doing a really good job.
That Porsche had that snap. Held it though. He was looking for that snap oversteer. Missing in his Nissan gets past.
So now he's got about a half lap. Maybe a touch more to try and regain that position. I was saying he was doing such a good job of just positioning his car so that he was closing off the inside run, but also giving himself the best racing line. And he's just asked a bit too much of the Porsche at that point.
Yeah, Jean-Pierre, don't go and look at what we said about your safety car hit. Just ignore that.
There's also been a yellow on the main straight for quite some time now. I think it's car 31.
31, yeah. Who is that?
I reckon that's an out of fuel. And just waiting for the leaders to cross the line.
Is that an attempt to try and back it up and get into the pits without being disqualified? No, they've teleported now.
That was Mohamed Zini. So we struggle there, but here we are. It would take a mighty effort. As I said earlier in the night, we've seen a few people try and take positions in the final turns here at Silverstone, and you're more likely to give one up than you are to grab it, but go for it if you can. So he will cross the line in 6. So McIntosh, Smith, Washington take out top 3. Jacobs and Misson first, second in the Pro-Am class, with Sen does take third in the Pro-Am class. Put in a great race. Just one little incident cost him a few positions late in that order, but he will secure himself a slightly better reverse grid. P12. This is back here as we watch a few more cross the line. See Lawson, followed by Johnson, Zenshin, Clayton, Viney. All in a pretty tight order, to be fair. Only a couple of incidents throughout the field in terms of penalties applied, so not too bad. Yeah, just kind of clumps up for the end. There's a clump back here. In the back order, so Sanderson, head of Matrillo. In P38, 46 cars in this split. Oh my goodness, that is very, very busy. See some great racing all the way through as these boys look to close out theirs.
There's a fair few cars in this split. I think the only way to have less cars per split is to add an extra day in the week. So if we can tee that up, I don't know who controls the days of the week, but if we can sort that out, we'll have more splits, less cars each split, easier qualifying, less incidents, more weekend, 3-day weekend every week. How does that sound to everyone?
If that's the way it worked, I'll be fine with it.
Let's get on the phone to ScoMo.
I suspect he's more likely to turn it into a 6-day work week, but that's my personal opinion. Either way, we have our final standings for the first race, and that will also show that top 12. So Girardi will have pole for the next one.
Green light, go, go, go.
However, so now, if you've not seen these splits yet, the top 12 will stay in their pit boxes and they will have a reverse grid start for the next race. Everyone else will go through qualifying, and that will set their starting order for the next one as well. So if you qualify through this in first, you'll start P13, 14, 15, so on and so forth. So let's try and grab who has gotten out first. It was a Porsche, I think. Immediately letting someone else through. That's very nice of them, I guess. Is that Bryce Meddings? It is indeed. So he gets pride of place going into the next one. Any big surprises for you boys in that last race?
I think it was a very good battle, you know, for the front runners. You expected those sort of times and those sort of results. Misson had a very good race. I really liked his performance. Definitely probably one of the top driver of the race drivers, I guess you could say, for race one. Very good performance in the Nissan.
Yeah, honestly, probably the cleanest race we've had so far for the beginning of the season across all splits. Obviously, still not the cleanest, but much better than what we've seen in the past. So yeah, hopefully that can continue on, and other splits can take note from this. I mean, I think being the first round, it's you kind of expect it a little bit, not as bad as what it has been, but you do expect it. People are rusty. There's a lot of different factors and a lot of different unfortunate things happening to people, but yeah, first race of the season, it's always going to be a disaster. It'll clean up coming into next week and the week after.
Do you know
We'll see
where
a lot
we're
better
going
battles as
next
well.
week?
Paul Ricard.
Yeah, Paul Ricard, if I'm
Ricard?
not mistaken.
That's not too bad. That's not too bad. In terms of, so I think last season we did Imola around round 2. And that was
Yeah, it sounds about right.
Imola turn 1. You may have,
Oh.
you've probably heard my views on that one. Would be a challenge, but I think Paul Ricard, you've got a bit more of a flow to it, and a 60-minute race as well will temper people. I do maintain that I think what's really caused a lot of issues in the first races of these, it's just the cold temps. It's just the tyres and the brakes being under temp. People going straight from qualifying where they're really trying to push a lot of pace. You know, a few minutes turnaround, and now they're into a full race, and they're expecting even the subconscious feel where they feel like and how they feel like they can push the car. Just a bit more than what the temperatures are likely to allow for. That's my
Yeah, that's a really good point. It's completely different mentalities between quali and racing, and yeah, the sessions are so close to each other. Like it's pretty much instant. So it's a bit of a challenge to switch onto race mode immediately after qualifying.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you've got to really just be a bit more patient in the race, whereas in quali you can just put your foot down and just go for it, and then you've got to go and especially adjust that mentality and your whole sort of got to be more conservative in, especially in the 40-minute race. The 20-minute one not so much, because you can just basically hammer it and not have any consequences, but if you go for it too much in the 40-minute race, your tyres will kill you for it later.
Yeah.
And yes, Andy, I will love Paul Ricard in the Audi. I've already tried it, and I
don't know if there's a hint of sarcasm there or not.
Yeah, it's there's one specific corner that I won't name that is pure death. The rest of the track fine. Just that one corner. But here we go. First time is a 2-minute .111.
Yeah, so these will be the bankers. Everyone getting their tyres back up to temp. Some people coming out a bit late as well. Laird 159.3. So the faster bankers are usually around the 158. Okay, or 157.3.
57.3s, yep. Andy, that's a no from me. That's all I'm going to say.
How good's that quick corner in it? Are you
Yeah,
are you
no.
talking Bender corner?
No. The
Bender's Apex?
the one at the end, the one at the end of Mistral.
You could be talking about all corners. It is Andy O'Hara.
Well, it is Andy O'Hara. That's right. That's a fair point. But
That hairpin
it's a
is
no.
wild for him.
Yeah, what a corner.
Oh dear. I just want to say, I feel like a 157.3 as a first lap, with your tyres have been under temp for the first half of it.
Yeah, pack her up and go home. Get it back in the pits.
Yeah,
You don't need to do anymore.
Although it was pretty disheartening in qualifying, I think it was yesterday, where I've done my personal best and I'm 2 seconds behind P1. Okay, that's okay. It is what it is.
Yeah, that's right.
You know?
No, you know what they say? There's always a faster fish.
Yeah. So it turns out there was about 20 of them though. So you know, that's okay. So let me start picking out some improvers. Let's switch to these so that way we can get those deltas. Maybe you can get an idea of how they're going. So here's Laird. Some big gains here, and especially later in the lap, because this is where even on his banker he will have been getting some good temps. Although he might have been setting up more for his second lap, so compromising it a touch. But a half-second gain is good enough for about a position up to P3. A lot more than that though. Bendik here, 6/10. Isn't too bad at all. So it was just in about the 2 minutes. We're looking for more gains. Can maybe go a touch wider there, but exploring his way around the track. He's in our M class, so this is quite a good time for that, that's for sure. Baldwin's a little bit of a gain in the moment, about 1/10, but we'll stay with this one. And it goes very, very deep into Brooklands. It's going to cost him quite a lot of time, so just didn't get the car around the way he wanted to. However, might be picking it up through left field. There you go, 4/10s, but he'll know where he can find another, I want to say 3 or 4 again on top of that. So I suspect he will be on the hunt. Here we have Susano, keeps his P3, 1 second behind Baldwin, who is on a couple of tenths gain at the moment. Down, I've got Zanchin here, 4/10 gain. Someone else does just get out of the way. He's about to close out his lap. That'll jump him up a number of positions. Oh wait, he's not. Sorry, he's not exactly where I thought he was. He's got a little bit further to go. You can use the little map on the corner there that'll tell you if you're brighter than I am.
Oh, they're the same corner. They're both pit straights.
Yeah.
I appreciate the
different
defense.
pit straight.
Thank you.
Same corner. There'll be pros out there going, it's not the same corner. There's so much difference. You brake for one, you don't brake for the other. Yeah. Go and school me.
Well, for Zanchin, he's put it into a full half second at this point. So this will get him into the 159s fairly comfortably. He looks to close that out now. About P13 in this qualifying set, I reckon, off that one. 12th? Close enough. Zini's on again. There's a Ferrari exploring new realms of possibilities in the track layout.
Good on him.
Just never stop growing.
Broaden your horizons.
That's it. They say only asphalt has grip, but have you tested? Here, Zini's found a couple more tenths through left field if he can close it out. She has indeed. Almost a full second up on that lap is a solid improvement for sure. You can jump him a long way up this order. To about P4. There you go, 4 it is. Very nicely done. Clayton, he's got a couple tenths in him, although... Oh yeah, no, it does look like he's made that work neatly out of arena. Currently in P15. His qualifying set. His current gain, though, would jump him to 12th, maybe even 10th. He's actually pretty tight through that order. Baldwin has a firm grip on his qualifying pole, but from about P4 through to... Oh goodness, it's a long way. 4 through to 12 is separated by a second. So that's pretty tight. Neighbour 6/10 up. Some good news for him. Indeed, a 158 might be on the cards if he can get just a bit more, and a 158 would be good enough for P3. So he's just got to hold it, and here's where a lap can make or break. He has dropped a couple of tenths. His tyres are starting to get outside of that real peak performance window. Kind of usually get maybe 3 laps out, especially on a longer track like this. The 4th is starting to drop. Still, 6 tenths, 5 tenths. He's on for a massive gain. The question is exactly where will it land him? He'd need, I think, 6th or 7th to make P3, but otherwise P4 is his for the taking. And no, I've just completely done my maths wrong and he's actually grabbed P9. So
Did you go to school? What have you done there?
Look, I attended briefly. But that's a story unto itself. And I think everyone else, there's got to be someone else still on a valid lap, because otherwise it wouldn't be holding this out. And it might actually, no, might be Lawson. I am not sure who is left to go. It's got quite a big grid. Oh, I think Meddings. Just looking to go side by side with another Jag for some style points. Either way, so there we go. Baldwin, Cheviot's, Sassano, Zahini, Laird, Johnson, Powell, Chalmers, Neighbour, and Bendick. We'll round out the top 10 of that qualifying session. So they will start P13, 14, 15, so on and so forth. And our top 12 from the previous race will start in reverse grid order of that 12. So a few mix-ups and a few opportunities for a couple of drivers, Baldwin, Cheviot's, Laird, pro-class drivers to get a bit further up. Sassano, as we know, very, very quick driver. Zahini's performed really well here as well. So some good stuff.
A couple of these M-class drivers also climbing up the Pro-Am ladder at the moment, just in terms of grid spaces. And each leading the way.
That's it. Now, I thought... 30 seconds. Shaquille. Oh, he was in the previous split, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, he did jump in chat earlier. I'm not too sure if you're still here, but if you are still here...
20 seconds.
Give yourself a pat on the back, mate. That was a stellar drive. Very unfortunate for that incident at the end. Yeah, great job all around.
Yeah, really, really impressive stuff. So we've all had those races. Well, I've never really had those races where I'm up high enough, really. But I've had the disappointments.
Yeah, it's not a good feeling, unfortunately.
Apart from that one, where you overtook me at Imola in the semis, in the finals, where I started on the right tyre. That one I was happy with.
Yeah, that was a good race.
And so for those who aren't familiar at the moment, the stewards will just be calling everyone out in the starting order that we want for this grid. The game doesn't let you do anything more elaborate than qualifying order presets, so we just kind of organise this ourselves. And then the safety car will take them round for their outlap, and then we'll get to it. So 19 degrees ambient, 27 track. So a tiny bit warmer than what they did in their first qualifying, but about the same as what their last qualifying was. Yeah, definitely warmer than the last race. So say that again?
It's the peak of summer for England. Is that the 19-degree air temperature?
Just not sure if they can handle it sometimes. But then again, I don't handle single-digit, let alone negatives, particularly well, so I can hardly talk.
Yeah, Melbourne hasn't been fantastic the last couple of days.
I mean, I haven't really stepped outside of the house
I've
for quite a while.
Yeah, I have been. I work in construction, working on government projects, and yeah, I've been very much out in the elements. It has not been fun.
Right, but it's government projects, right? So you've been standing in outside in the elements observing. Is that how it works?
Yeah.
Yeah, correct. I just point and yell, and then the work gets done. No, not quite. I'm nowhere near that point of the hierarchy.
that's.
Yes, it's been fairly cold recently here in Victoria, especially me being in a rural area in the northeast. It's been -3 overnight and in the morning at certain points, and when you're standing outside in the cold at school at 8:30 in the morning, it's not nice. So at least you get to be in your home, Jamie.
If it helps you at all, at 8:30 in the morning, I was sleeping in.
Yeah, thank you.
I
Thanks.
put my alarm on snooze.
Awesome.
I did get up at 8:35 to make it.
Yeah, right. Kiss my ass. Yeah, righto.
That's disgusting. I get to 8:35 and I think lunch isn't far away.
Tell you what, on most days, my alarm goes off at 20 past 8, sleep in for a little bit, have a shower, get dressed, walk down the hallway, commence my day.
I wish it was that easy.
Now, I did make a promise to Samwise, and that promise will be kept.
You're going to use chase cam.
We'll get to it. I'm using, you should know by now.
Far chase cam, yeah, righto, funny.
I can use chase cam, that's okay. I don't like it as much. It doesn't give you the same field of view.
No, but it makes the Mercedes look wide.
It does. It does.
Yeah, it's a big wing. That wing takes up 50% of the track.
Yeah.
It's girth on full display.
It is.
Put it away.
This I think just a little bit nicer. He asked for it. This is what he wanted, and he said more in the form of "Do not do this," but he knew this is what he was going to get.
Well, I was going to say, as soon as you tell James Saxon not to use chase cam, he's going to use chase cam.
I love it. I love it. Look at that. You can see the way the car's kind of bouncing as he gets on and off throttle. It's fantastic. I think this is your start though, Mitch.
Oh, my start. Oh, good, lovely, funny. Let's do this. So, Girardi, P1, Floyd there in the Merc in P2, Gibbo there, P3, Samwise, Mr. Chase Cam Man, P4, Rashuti P5, and he in P6.
That's
So
BHE to you.
P13 across the line. Oh, BHE, sorry. I'll just correct myself there. Wait for P13 across the line. That's Baldwin. We're on our way. Good start there for Floyd. Looks like a good start there from Behe. Looks like Samwise may already lose a position. Tucking in, coming into Maggots. Oh, Behe goes round. There's a BMW. Oh, it's been corrected by it. That looked like a Nissan. Comes back on. Oh, bit of a dodgy rejoin. Not even close to Bender, but looks fairly clean at the back. Coming out through Chapel now. Down the hanger straight. Coming into Stowe. Hopefully nice and clean. No one tapping each other too wide. Don't go 3 wide. That's not smart, as I see it there in the background. Let's have a look. BMW there. It's Jeremy Washington looking for the dive. Oh, there's a Lambo round. Hits Bentley. Merc dead. Oh, hits Death. Death. Yeah, that's up the shitter. That's wham bam, thank you, ma'am. There's definitely a safety car. Whoa!
That's a very high possibility of a safety car.
Oh yeah, that's a safety car.
That's safety car.
Yep.
Get that disgusting Alpine out on track. It's still going.
Yeah,
Slow down, it's yellows. I can't stress enough, when you see yellow flags, do not pin it. It is not an opportunity.
Christ. Yeah, can we analyse this?
Let me
There's
try.
a lot that went on.
I won't pull it up in the full replay, so I've gone back a minute. I'm going to try and catch people. Figure out. Now, I think it was around this in the order. Now, looking at Cheviot here in the Ferrari.
I reckon it might be that Lambo there that may have started it all. Just going to have to wait and see. May have gone for a dive on the Ferrari, possibly.
It was this Nissan.
Oh, Nissan.
But it's already been
the
kicked
Lambo
off.
ahead. Death, yeah.
Yeah, the Mercedes up the front.
Yeah, that must have been Samwise. Whoa, what's that hitting the BMW and the Lambo? What is that mess?
Lambo took a fair whack. Got airborne in front too.
That is safety car territory right there. That is just a no-brainer there for the safety car to come on out.
Now, professional as I am, do you remember the keys to go free cam? Because what we will do is we'll pull up the replay for this one.
Alt F4 will do it for you.
Yeah. That'll fix you right at F7.
And if you have any issues, delete System 32 and you should be right to go.
Yeah, that'll fix you right up.
All right. F7.
Yep, and then use the arrow keys and scroll wheel to adjust the speed of the camera.
All right.
There you go. Don't make it go too fast.
You can't stop me.
And what I would do, click the mouse wheel in.
Ooh, you seem very fast outside the car, Saxon.
Then turn off follow car, just so that it doesn't follow the car along. And then just you have to go back again, and then just make sure to click in the mouse wheel again, and then you can watch it at that corner without any incident.
Braden, that was a pretty good insult, to be fair.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a twist of the knife.
Oh goodness, no.
Oh my gosh.
All right. How do I get the mouse back? All right, this is very professional. I'm sorry, everyone. All right, so I've got that, and now, all right, I'm good.
Yeah, but you just do that.
But now I've turned
Okay, it's still following car now. All right, well, we'll just deal with this garbage camera view. Don't know why it's following car. Whoa. You turned off following car. I don't know.
All right, we'll get this. F7.
Yeah.
Yep. Arrows. Yep.
Yeah.
They're still behind the safety car, people. Don't worry. We're getting there.
Yeah,
Middle mouse button. Follow car off.
Yeah, it'll take you back to the car.
Take you back to the car. Yeah. Okay, I was supposed to.
And then make sure to press the mouse wheel back in so it gets rid of those garbage control things. And now move your mouse and press play.
Press play.
And now watch the carnage unfold. So there's just death right there. Go back. Do you see the Bentley on Mercedes by the looks of that? 3 wide coming into club. We see there at the sign there on the left-hand side of the screen.
So it's not Floyd, it's Holmes on the outside.
Yep. And tap, Lambo,
collected.
tap, Merc. Yep.
So that's the first, and that Lambo then continues on into what looks like Gibbons. Now he's turned around, he's in the middle of the road, and that's a debacle behind that. And then it just gets worse.
It gets so much worse.
People are still coming in at a rate of knots, because it was kind of quiet for a little bit, but you've got the scattering off on the right-hand side. There's just no words.
There's not.
Yeah, I can't stress enough how important it is to proceed with caution when there's a yellow. The yellow means caution, so you proceed with that. You want to proceed as if you are going to need to react and avoid something or come to a complete stop if you absolutely have to.
Yep, looks like our timing's good now though, because they're about to come out from the safety car to back into the restart of the race.
I like that I got to flick my eyes back up now after all that and see all those very supportive messages as I try and figure out how to control it.
Yeah, I know. I just went as well. I was like, back underway though.
So Floyd gets away from he. Pulled a bit of a gap, as he should. It's not amazing, but it will do the job and do the job well. We'll get a great view here coming into Maggots and Beckett's of the run of cars. I know the Helicam gets a very good view once it rotates around. All the cars behind streaming through. And this should be a lot cleaner. It looks like everyone's actually giving each other quite a lot of space on that restart. So
if this is now a not clean restart, it's your fault.
Don't you, McGee, saying in my country the general consensus for yellow lights is to floor it so you don't get caught by the red?
Yeah, fair point. That's fair. I think, isn't that just any country?
So I'll tell you what. Maybe this. It's a quick time for a tale. So a couple of my friends work in public prosecutions, and they absolutely love it when someone says to the judge, "I thought I could make it through on the yellow." In Australia, because immediately they'll say, "Your Honour, I'd like to update the charge from failure to stop for a red light to failure to stop for a warning signal." And the penalty is identical. So, don't confess to the judge that you thought you could run a yellow light. It's just a tip for you, because it's exactly the same penalty as running a red.
Well, isn't the rule like stop unless it is unsafe?
Correct.
Yeah. If it is unsafe to stop at that yellow, like if you have to slam the brakes on, don't do it. That's silly. That's the only reason why you go through the yellow.
Yeah, but saying I thought I could make it through is kind of indicated that you've done
that's
exactly
a bit
the
of an
opposite.
indication that you're a bit of a twat.
Yeah, look, we've all done it.
It also shows how smooth your brain is.
Yeah.
We've all been there. We've all done it. You just don't confess it to the judge. Your Honour, momentary lapse of judgment. Much better. I thought I could make it if I floored it. Not so good. Either way, who thinks he can make it if he floors it? And that is Sean Jacobs. He's trying to pursue Bendy He. For some reason, says that he's in P2 when he clearly is not.
Well,
He's in
that's just-
P3.
yeah,
Bottom
that's
right
not
to
true.
P2. Top left
Yeah,
to
but we
P3.
don't listen to that.
Well, I guess
See,
now he's
see,
got
now
P2,
he's P2.
so
Yeah.
just ahead of the
less
game.
be he.
Just for a moment, are we able
And
to quickly
indeed,
jump
sorry,
on the
just
order?
while that happened as well, Zach Smith just took Cam Gibbons.
Yeah,
Right,
that
sorry,
was
go ahead. There's an
Callum
incident back there.
Gibbons, but sure.
I just want to see where Jeremy Washington is sitting because I feel like he's going to lose that top 10 streak, top 10 finishes. Currently sitting on 16, including the last race and all of last season. Where is he now? 46. The streak ends tonight. Sorry, Washington.
Yes, yeah, you've. Yeah.
Is
My
there
bad.
Damage? He might have even started from it. No, because there's been a safety car. I'm not sure what's happened to him, to be honest. I did see there was a bit of a collision as well. There's been another one. I'm just trying to catch the numbers. They've just gone past whoever it was. Can't quite tell. Car 31 I can see has just had an incident. That's Sahini. Let's check out what's happened here. Oh, no, 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 no.
Oh no! Oh, I'm smelling
Ooh.
a bit of Bender here. Yeah.
I'm not sure how that Bentley was involved, what's happened there, but it has happened. Ahmed, I think, is considering his options, sitting in the sand there, which is unfortunate. Oh, and there's still some incidents going on. Stephanie trying to get the car pointed forwards after something. I would suggest that there's been another Abbey moment there. Either way, we are up the pointy end. Look here, maybe Callum Gibbons, rather.
Oh, come on, mate.
I'll get there.
You
I'm
can't
trying-
even read basic English now.
There's 40-something drivers. I'm trying to find all the fights. I'm trying to keep an eye on yellow dots. Someone's off. I can't exactly see
We're just
who.
here
I want
to
to say like
harass
Carl.
you.
Johnson. Sorry, let me try and find this one. Oh, I can't. There's just too many cars. There's too many cars. There's definitely been an off. 1, 2, 3. I can see there. Has had a moment as well. That's Zenchin. He's teleported back to the pits. Pete Chalmers struggling a little bit with the car, dipping and diving when he does not want it to. And now he is side by side with Lawson. And they're going to stay side by side through Vale.
Ooh, bit of a kiss there. Homer's going to be forced to go wide. Bentley might come through. Girardi holds back though on Lawson, who does get through.
Yeah, some dicey moments. Again, that Honda just looks a little bit unsettled. Just Honda things. You can kind of tame the beast. Very, very capable when you can keep it under control, but that's the challenge. As Ben Floyd completes another lap, he's now got himself quite a nice gap from Brendan He behind him. Pick out a nice little another scrap to have a look at. Maybe let's have a look at Bryce Meddings. He's going in the Jeeves, fetch the car Jaguar. Can chase down Neighbour, and he's got Justin Clayton behind him. Jags putting in a reasonable performance through this Australian split, so it's yellow, green, blue and red so far. Not sure if they're the quickest of quick, as Bryce experiments with a little bit of the grass on the side. Don't think he liked it. Doesn't recommend. Just in case you were wondering.
Jaguar, nice car, shit mower.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
very expensive as a lawnmower.
Yeah, we know just on the BOP that the Jag was not as competitive as the rest. It's still a fun car to drive though from the people I've talked to who've driven it in the past through a couple of races. So I think those who are in it this season will more just be looking to have a bit of fun, especially I think the only track I've heard it's good at is Imola, so we'll have to watch out for the Jags there.
Yeah, fingers crossed. I think most of them it's not monster differences. It's not like you're 5 seconds behind.
No, it's usually, I dare say it's probably a second.
Yeah, which is quite significant.
It's quite significant, yeah.
And apologies, Moritz, if I missed an overtake flicking away, unfortunately. Yeah, it's a bit tricky, but I will try and do better. My apologies.
Just do good.
It's actually quite tricky because the camera control thing is off to the side, so I turn to look at that and I miss things quite a lot. But there's always a lot going on, especially with this many drivers. Let's jump up a couple more positions. Have a look here at Baldwin, who's got a cracking run there through Cops. Closed the gap up on Sassano pretty significantly, actually. I have to remember for a moment that it's a right-hand drive car. How on earth is he doing what he's doing there? Half the car's on the other side. Yeah, very quick. Through the pit straight. Maybe it's because these guys are scrapping as well, as we saw Sassano there have a half look on Johnson. Probably gets himself back to the racing line. Does find a little bit of extra track on the exit there of Stowe.
You know, I've got to say, how Samwise Holmes is still in P8 after that start of race incident is ridiculous.
Yeah, he got hit pretty hard. Doing well. Oh my goodness.
Look how good the Bentley is through there. It's actually disgusting. He has to shift down because Sassano is getting in the way. Oh, he's getting up close and personal with the Audi. Bentley's just so good through those corners and carries so much speed and get a good exit too here.
I think you can see it. Sassano, the Bentley is fantastic. The Audi not so much, and that difference heavily on display throughout.
Yeah, it's one of the weaker corners for the Audi. Unfortunately, you can just lift and shift down, but if you get the wrong line, you're going wide, and then you got to brake, and it's a real pain. So you'll see. Oh, Sassano goes wide. Oh, keeps it on the track though. Well, as we would have seen if Sassano hadn't gone off the track, the difference between probably the Bentley and the Audi as well. Just see him up there again through turn one.
Needed to go back a tiny bit further for that one. Apologies. There you go. He gets the position. So now Baldwin going to try and chase down Johnson, and I think also definitely within his sights. Looks like he was gaining pace on these guys quite quickly. In fact, getting the run.
Look at the exit. It's just. This Bentley is, especially at the hands of Baldwin, who we know is a force to be reckoned with in any race when he's in the Bentley. He's just going to make this look easy.
Though, he's going to have to wait a tiny bit longer, I suspect, here. He's going to half try and run around the outside, but that's not going to work for him. Almost gets challenged by Sassano a little bit there. Not to be. Continue on.
Yeah, it looks like there's a little bit of a battle forming for P2 at the moment as well. B is hot on the tail of B Floyd.
Yeah, and Jacobs is there too, so it looks like they might nearly be side by side, and Gibbo and Chewietz are both there as well. So
yeah, super tight for the top 7.
Let's jump over and see what's going on there. Almost jumping to dive in progress by Jacobs. I think it's just a very good braking manoeuvre. Very tight train, exactly as you say. So Floyd with some big damage to the rear and the front.
Yeah, it looks like he must have an incident because I do recall him being in front of Zach Smith on that safety car restart, so there's definitely something that's gone wrong there. And now Floyd will be holding up Behe and Jacobs and Misson and Gibbo and Chewietz, so they're all looking to get past. Look at that train of cars coming through Maggots and then Beckett's. It's just That's a sight to behold.
Yeah, it seems like Floyd is definitely the cork in the bottle for this one, but you do have to tip your hat to him because his defensive skills are obviously doing him pretty well.
I noticed some scrapes on the side of He's car as well, so he's not unscathed.
Let's be hey to you.
That's true.
Oh, he's giving that Porsche everything it's got. Might go. Oh, just sticks the nose in there. Jacobs goes a little bit deep into club. See if he can pull a bit of a gap there to Misson. As you can see, we've got the 3 mini battles within this one large battle. Now Jacobs is just looking to try and get past Behe.
Well,
Just
Behe
trying
sitting
to
in P2.
satisfy Braden there with Behe, but that's okay.
The gap that I'm actually interested in watching a little bit alongside this is Holmes's gap. Is he able to close in now? He's probably got a fair bit of damage on him, to be fair, but he has pulled the better part of a second over the last sector to catch up to Cherviets.
Yeah, Floyd looked to the inside on the defence. Jacobs wants to go around the outside for something different. Ooh, Floyd just keeping... And Jacobs putting... Oh, goes wide. There might have been a bit of a tap there. I couldn't quite tell. Might have been a little bit of net
context there. It was a small
Jacobs and he are now side by side. Misson's just going to watch this unfold. I think he may even follow Jacobs as well. So he's might be about to lose 2 positions as he goes late and nearly hits Floyd. Has to be forced off the track. Jacobs gets through and now it's Misson looking for the move on Floyd as Jacobs gets past.
Yeah, unfortunate there for I feel like he's figured the smartest option is to not turn in because he's not sure how safely he can do so. That has cost him a big old whack of time.
Yeah, I think that was unfortunate for him. That was probably the safest thing to do, as much as I can imagine he didn't want to do it. Didn't really have much of an option there, but should just back out, go off track, and just make sure he doesn't pay the price. And now Misson is looking for the move, but Floyd just says no, I'm not going to let you pass yet. Misson is another one of the rookies who very much shine through. Was driving Aston in rookies and has moved to the Nissan. His pace was unreal in rookies, so I'm looking forward to seeing him throughout the season, seeing if he can even bag himself a win maybe at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. It goes to show that rookie does not mean slow.
Oh no, it's just it's for those who haven't done sprint before and just need, you know, to learn the tracks and just gain that confidence, and just when they come up to sprint, you really see them shine. Speaking of rookies, it's Misson again, looking for the inside. Let's see. Later on the brakes. Floyd. Oh, Floyd didn't want to let him have it. Floyd's got the right idea, though, because he's going to be on the inside. Forces Misson to go wide. Misson could go for the switchback, though.
It is such tight racing. It really makes you clench.
Yeah, I guarantee you both of them aren't going to hold back. Misson forced to the outside by Floyd. It's not the line you want, but it can be done when done well. As we see Gibbons there, and even Cherwietz now is getting in on the action. Gibbons might try and show Misson how to do it, but decides to back out. That's the most responsible thing you can do.
Yeah, I wasn't quite given the real estate there to find any opportunity, so definitely a smart decision to back off on that one and try and find another way through.
And there is Samwise Holmes in the background. You were talking to Jamie about him, and also Dean Laird is there too. So they're really being held up now. Jacobs has gotten a fair way ahead. So now we're just going to watch these battles slowly unfold. Jacobs already having pulled 4 and a bit seconds. Floyd really just slowing Misson. Jacobs and Cherwietz. Oh, really went for a dive there, but holds back somehow. Oh, tap there in the background. Cherwietz and he, I think that is.
Yeah, it looks like he has gotten through Cherwietz. Was there a bit of a bump? Did he force it? I'm not sure. that's what's going on. And just to provide some context as well, so these guys are currently doing 2:02 lap times, and Jacobs, as soon as he got free, 1:59.1.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's just Floyd with that damage is really holding him up, and I can guarantee all the drivers behind Floyd know that. Will be pushing to try and get past. He's missing again. Floyd doesn't have a choice now. Misson's going to go later on the brakes. Might actually get the move done here when done right. And he's got it done, finally. He will be very relieved with that now. Now Floyd's going to be under pressure from Callum Gibbons.
Yeah, Floyd put up an excellent fight there. Really good defensive manoeuvres there. Always giving the space to the other car on track as well. Yeah, fantastic work by Floyd there. Unlucky that he lost position, but that was just a great display of defensive driving. He just had that position on a piece of string. It doesn't matter what Nissan threw at him. He was able to reel it back in.
Yeah, I think each lap he would have been looking at the clock, just hoping that it somehow goes a little bit faster. But what he is doing really well as well, on top of we're seeing this excellent defending, he's also making sure the cars behind are getting involved in each other, and that takes a little bit of pressure off him. Right now you can see he's got a little bit of a gap to Gibbons, and that's a tribute to the good defending that he's been doing against Misson, which has pushed Gibbons back into just pushed back into Cheruiyot. It all plays off each other. And, there is a quick note that I wanted to make as well. So we saw that moment where he went off the track, and maybe he could have tried to avoid it. And it really brings to mind what makes a really great driver. Because a really great driver avoids a collision at all costs. Even if you think that it is not your fault that a collision can happen, if you could avoid it, then you have an obligation to do so. And I think that's an important factor.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, they might get the penalty, but if you could have avoided it, then that's what makes you a better driver.
That's right. It's not how you screw up, it's how you recover. That shows the maturity in your driving.
Yes, I think
everyone screws up every now and then. Andy O'Hara screws up every now and then. I think we've seen it maybe once in our life.
Yeah, we've seen O'Hara actually be human once, and it was last season here at Silverstone. He tapped the wall coming through maggots. Just used a bit too much curb, lost the rear. Hope someone's clipped that, because I don't think we'll ever see it again.
No, not. But I think it really points to, he lost a couple of positions, but he's back in P6. He's still challenging, and he doesn't actually just have a Porsche embedded in a wall. And that's the difference. We're knowing I can't hold on to this. The right thing for me to do is to run very wide, get back on the track, and fight again when I can get the car back into position. That's why he's doing so well. That's why he's about to take fifth.
Yeah, that was... I'm going to be honest, I didn't actually think he might have been able to make that stick, because that's a very risky move, especially in a car like the Porsche with the weight transfer and everything. Touches the grass, is going to get the run on Floyd. I think this is the move he's been waiting for at least 5 minutes now. A bit longer after that incident at turn 1.
We have seen how Floyd is with defense, though.
Yeah, he's very good with that. He's going to make that Mercedes as wide as he can.
Just a good bit of side-by-side there at Stowe. Nothing penalty-worthy. It's a little bit of slight disagreement over how much racing line each other car can have, as we see as well.
Cheruiyot and Holmes gets the position. Just in the background there, and now Cheruiyot is under fire from Laird in P9.
That's an interesting one, because that means as well that Laird has now been pulled back into this battle there. Floyd, he's backing it all up, which is helping him. It is what he needs to do. Even if you say, look, there's no way he can fight for that position. It's the next one. And it's the next one. And it's the next one.
That's a bit of a interesting dive there from Behe, but he's got it done, and at the expense of another position for Floyd. So Gibbons has gotten past now, and even his teammate Samwise Holmes is going to get past. Now he's going to be under attack from Laird and Cheruiyot. So started, I dare say, 10 minutes ago in P2 with that damage, and now he's all the way down to P5. Could even be, no, P7, sorry. I can't maths. And he could lose more now to both Laird and Cheruiyot.
This this whole pack here, with all the battling and carnage that's been going on, Gibbons has really just kind of been sitting really patient, just waiting for his opportunity to show. So,
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, well done to Gibbons. Just chilling out. He's just happy to be here.
Yeah, he's done a fabulous job, especially after being involved in that early incident that caused that early safety car. Just very good drive to get back to where he is now.
Interestingly, I just had a bit of a look then, as we all did, at Holmes's car. It's not as damaged as I thought. Hold on, what is he doing out there?
Is that he doing?
Let's have another look.
Let's just see. Might have been a bit of a snap. We know the Porsche does have a tendency to snap. Yep, there it is. That's a clenching moment there for he.
Look at that composure as well. Like, once it's started, he knows. Point the car, use the runoff, get it back in order. You're all good.
Yep. And that just shows a nice calm, controlled driver. Just knows how to handle the car in certain situations.
And it's what you need, I think, to be able to drive a car like the Porsche. It's just to know when it's done and what you can do about it. There's no point fighting to hold a car that can't be held anymore. So
yeah, that's right.
Use the runoff. Continue on. Let's touch back then, and let's maybe have a look from Cheviot's position. Oh no, I just noticed what's going on here. This is Neighbour and Sassano. Looks like Neighbour is taking that position, and Baldwin might get one as well.
Yeah, that Bentley's going to take up a lot of the circuit, particularly coming into turn 1.
Just have a look. Now that I'm just seeing it from a bird's eye view, and I've talked about it with a couple of people. Just look at the size differences of all the cars. Look how small the Honda is compared to the Audi, and then the Audi compared to the Bentley. It's just mind-blowing. People go, oh, they're all similar sizes. They're not. Look at the difference. The Bentley's just so much wider and longer, and the Audi's just small and skinny. And same with the Honda. It's even smaller and not as wide as the Audi by the looks of it.
Yeah, it's just a few speedboats amongst the Titanic.
It is interesting because I did see Sassano finds a bit of extra room. Interesting thing about the way your kind of brain perceives the size, and we take these kind of fixed reference point of the size of a windscreen. This is what this YouTube video is telling me, and we scale everything around it, which is why the 919 people think that it's huge. It's actually quite small.
Quite small, that's right.
Yeah, but you look at the windscreen, you're like, well, that's small. It must be a regular sized windscreen, and therefore the car is gigantic. And no, it's not quite the case.
Yep, and there's the big Boatley looking for the inside. Just look at the size of that Bentley. It'd be so easy to defend in that thing. Looks for the exit on Sassano. Just sticks its nose in there, but Sassano gets the better exit. Has to go wide still. Coming on to Wellington Straight now.
Looks like he's held him off for the moment, although Neighbour is starting to skip away. At the front, it is worth mentioning, Zach Smith, 8 and a bit seconds clear of Jacobs, so he is feeling very comfortable at this moment, and indeed Misson and Gibbons as well, some big gaps between them. And interestingly, I think for the first time this entire season, this entire season, it's been 2 nights.
Well, yeah, definitely.
We've actually got a fair bit of space between most of the cars. Let's just say that. It's about 16 more battles that I can see that are actually quite close.
All grey dots turn yellow the moment you say
that. Yeah. And you wouldn't believe, for the first time this season, there's 2 Pro-Ams on the podium spots.
That's true. That is the first time. We'll go with that. So down here, I'm just having a look. Just noticing this one: Johnson, Van Dijk, and Powell getting involved. And it looks here, Van Dijk might actually have the run on Johnson. Where Johnson just kind of taking that, I'm not entirely defending, but I'm not defending kind of line. And Van Dijk just saying, okay, I'll take the wider racing line. That's fine. You compromise yourself just a little bit, and I'll use that. Just small gains. I think Powell is just waiting for some action.
Jeremy Washington not having a fantastic night. He has climbs from P46 to P27, but he's gotten himself a 10-second penalty along the way. For God knows what reason. Not important, but yeah, not great. Not great for Washington.
It is. I think it's difficult to do the better part of 20 overtakes without getting a bit close from time to time. And sometimes it's harder, and sometimes it's easier if there's a big speed difference. Usually easier, but you can also catch people out who aren't quite aware of just how much of a difference there is.
Yeah, I mean, those braking points as well. If you're one of them super quick drivers and you're not completely on page with what the braking points of someone fresh out of rookie series, what their braking point references are, that kind of thing can lead to incidents. Just a quick little rear end can ruin two people's races.
It's a lot of excuse me. It's just a lot of anticipation, and it's not only the fact of just who the driver is, but it's also what car are they driving, because as we know, the Porsche has the best brakes of any car, followed by, I dare say, probably the Audi, and then, you know, the front engine ones are fairly similar, and then you've got not too sure what has probably the worst brakes. Mercedes is pretty bad, I know that. Honda has decent brakes. McLaren's pretty bad. Used to be worse, apparently.
The McLaren's always been the one that catches me out. I'm not entirely sure what it's going to do.
And then it's the car and then the driver as well. So putting that, if you're a really good driver, if you put all that into a complicated formula in your head, then you can sort of have an idea of when they're going to brake. So you might say the Honda's going to brake there, which it did. And, you know, as a BMW driver, you might go, okay, I need to brake a couple of meters, or like even just time, just be like, okay, I need to brake a second before they do, just so that you don't cause any sort of collisions or a mistake from yourself.
Yeah, either that or lifting doesn't hurt either. Save yourself a little bit of fuel along the way.
Yeah, it's in terms of the fuel, it's not going to make much of a difference, but in terms of potentially causing an incident, it definitely, you know, saves your ass if you potentially expect them to be on the brakes later than they actually are, and you don't really want to get caught out by that. Tap them around, get a penalty, ruins your race. So it's just, you know, having the mentality and the idea in your head of when they're going to brake. See the BMW there, knew it was going to brake there, and somehow it's gotten round on the outside. What a move.
Yeah, it looked to me like Viney was just a little bit unsure of where Matrillo was. He's maybe eased up and not tried to push out, thinking that maybe he was going to get pinched. I'm not sure. Washington looks like he might try and have a run up the inside. Doesn't quite have the overlap, so he's not going to do that. And now he just needs to avoid
Honda things, yep.
Yeah, I think there'll be a combination of Honda things, and being only 3 minutes left in this race, there's going to be some destroyed tyres out there.
Yeah. Know that feeling, being a former Honda driver, it's not fun at all.
And once you start doing that, it just gets worse and worse and worse. Neighbours as well had the same problem.
Oh, he's had the same issue, yeah. Oh, he might actually been tapped by the looks of that. He didn't quite go back far enough, but
yeah, I expected he'd done it on his own. Sorry, I picked 20 seconds, but it's been much longer. Right, he's been sitting still for quite a long time, which is why I've guessed wrong. So that's a big drop for him, and he might have been involved with. Yeah, it must have been he, because I saw a Porsche as part of that. But it is what it is. We're into the last couple of minutes of this race, and indeed this evening. We've got he on the back of Gibbons. So one of the last ones. Kind of a big position battle. The podium looks all but sorted. Maybe let's jump on board.
Ooh, that Porsche. It's probably just a combination of what Braden said, the tyres and Porsche weight transfer tins. It's definitely one you've got to have patience and fair bit of balls to drive. He's on the hunt for Gibbons and goes wide. Forced, yeah.
Those fronts are
Has to
not
go.
biting.
No, that's just unfortunate in terms of having a longer race. So this is probably one of the closer battles on track. They've got 6.5 seconds to miss him up ahead. So it looks like we might be seeing two drivers who could be, as he hits the curb, could be getting a potential promotion, I would say, because those are two very skilled drivers. So keep an eye out for them for a potential promotion in the coming weeks if they have more decent results like this.
I'm just looking at Brendan here. I don't think it's doable. It looks to me like at any speed, those fronts just do not grab. And once it gets slow, because you can see once it slows right down, he's oversteering it quite hard.
Yeah.
Just getting used to how little front grip he's got through these higher sections, that it slows down and he's just yanking the wheel too hard. I feel like he's probably pushed it, taken about as much life as he can out of them at this point. And the pace that he needs to close that gap enough to try and make another run is just not viable. Although that's not... No, okay, that's a lapped Nissan. That is not
No, it's
Nissan.
a lap Nissan. Yeah, I was wondering the same thing, but no, Nissan in his Nissan is 6 seconds ahead, so no need to be worried there.
We'll have a look. So this looks like about the tightest one, but it just doesn't seem viable to me. I think Gibbons has got a little bit more grip available to him. He's having to absolutely push, but he just doesn't have a car that can do it for him right now. And it might just be some scrubbing that would eventually wear off and he'd get his grip back, but yeah, I don't see it. They'll come through the sector here and we'll see what kind of difference they are at. There was a bit of part of 8 tenths before. He's chopped a couple. Look, maybe. To me, it just looked like Gibbons needs to hold it clean to the end, and he should have that P4 locked up.
Yeah, that's it. It kind of seems like he is going to need to be slightly aggressive to break down that time a little bit and get himself into a position where he can overtake, and there's not many parts of the track left for him to do so. So yeah, that aggression with busted tyres is it's not a great combination, so he kind of just needs to chill out and see what he can make of the rest of the lap. And if it's nothing, then just accept P5. It's not horrible.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great result. He's got the better part of 8 seconds to Holmes behind him, but he's also been in a couple of collisions, so you just want to be nervous in case there's a post-race penalty or something like that. No point throwing away a position trying to chase one. We've seen such great car control and great temperament to not force something that's not viable. He's closing right up.
Oh.
Yeah, he tried to go for it, but unfortunately for him, he was so close, but those front tyres are just what caused him to lose so much time. So Gibbons gets the handle on him for P4.
A great race for him, though. Really well done.
Yeah, very well done indeed. As we see here, Freestock just trying to look for Laird, but does have the penalty for 15 seconds anyway, so it's not going to make a huge difference to him.
Yeah, just trying to mitigate that as much as possible. There's always post-race protests. It's definitely viable. They come across the line and the car at least being thrown into a wall there. A couple of Hondas, 15 and 16. That's Chalmers and Neighbour. Right behind. Still, I mean, battle's going on all the way down. So, Raschuti is looking for a position on Brian Tan. Not going to have enough time left to complete that. Leonard Scott and Clayton with Fowler as well all have penalties. So for a couple of them at least it balances out. Again, just too hard to make a position this late. Haziq might be able to have a run on Fowler. Doesn't need to. Fowler's got a 15-second penalty and Haziq doesn't. But, you know, he's pushing for it regardless. Getting very close behind him. And I think these boys will close out our race. It'll just be Mitchell behind. Who'll end that off for us in P36. Let's jump up. And that is our final standings for the evening. That's the top 20. So, Smith, with better part of a 10-second gap to Jacobs. Very well done by him. Absolutely fantastic drive. And it's already moved over. So I can't show you the thing. Can I? Yes, I can here. Race 2. Fantastic. We'll get the final standings there. So Smith, Jacobs, Misson, and Sassano will take the Pro-Am podiums. So Sassano in P8 overall, but 3rd in class. Very well done by him. Gibbons, he, for me, driver of that race, for sure. Just did a couple of mistakes, certainly, but the way he handled them to me was pure class. What are your guys' thoughts on that one?
Yeah, it's a good point on Behe. Just the way he handled and everything, but I've got to hand it to Gibbons. He was very patient that race, and sometimes when you're a lot of the time when you're racing, it's very hard to be patient because you see your car and you just want to go for it. You want to get past them. You want to get around them somehow. You want to start racing. You want to be side by side. But in all of that action and all of that chaos, Gibbons just chilled out, was just happy to be there, and it got him P4 in the end. So it was a pretty good, patient drive by Gibbons.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I think I agree with Gibbons. I wouldn't say no to that, but I think also, you know, Baldwin or Holmes are definitely ones to look at, especially Holmes after that incident that caused a safety car. It's just a drive that I'm sure he would be very proud of after losing quite a few positions after being taken out.
Yeah, that's a good point. And Floyd might be the other one as well. Finished in 9th. A lot of damage to his car. No penalties, as you can see, so it doesn't look like he was at fault. Held off a lot of drivers for a long time, and that's what got him as good a position as he did. Would have been very easy for him to fall back 5, 6, 7 more places, but just held it up very, very well, and gave us a lot of excitement as well. So pushing a car that maybe wasn't as capable into a position that he earned as a driver when the machinery was a bit too battered for him to get what he might otherwise deserve. Either way, that's been a fantastic night for me. But I think I am
good to be back.
Yeah,
that's it. I'm about ready for bed. That's for sure. So I'm going to bid you all adieu for the evening. So as always, the American series will start in their evening. So our early morning-ish, thereabouts.
We've got EU up first, I do
Yeah,
believe.
EU. So British summertime, 8 p.m. for EU, which is 5 a.m. for us. So if you're awake at 5 a.m., which is me, tune in.
Yeah.
Set your alarms.
This will be the first time that we've had an EU split, if I'm not mistaken.
It is indeed. We've got the
And-
lovely Raggy doing it for us. He will be broadcasting it.
Yeah, some of the names in EU are ridiculous. Like, not the names themselves, but the drivers are freaks. Like, there's going to be some really good, impressive racing in the EU split. So it's something to be excited for. So if you are awake at that hour at any point during the season, tune in and watch some good races from these guys.
That's it. And should point out as well, we're on the YouTube now, so hit that like and subscribe, whatnot. You've all heard that line before, you know how it goes.
Smash that like button, smash that subscribe button.
Right? Leave a comment, do a little dance, whatever it is. But as always, it does really help. So thank you very much, gentlemen. Thank you for being here once again. I will speak to you shortly, and we'll be back for our next week. But yeah, 5 a.m. Aussie time. I'm sure a much more reasonable hour European time is the next one, and then NA as well. But for us, that is an evening. Have a great night, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah.
See ya.